Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and let us begin momentarily with this live stream discussion on the film For Your Eyes Only. So we will start momentarily. Just give me 1 second while I finish setting up. I hope everyone is well. Damn Fool is here. Mike is here. Hello, my dear friends. Hello. Welcome back. I hope the two of you are well today. Thank you very much, as always. There we go. Zyrother's here. It's nice to see you as well. I hope you're well, my friends. We will begin momentarily, so just sit back, relax, or as Roger Moore would say, hold tight, and we will begin soon. James Pond, No Time to Cry. Hello, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Faith and Misery is here. Hello. Thank you so much. Thank you. Again, today's topic will be a discussion of this film, 1981, For Your Eyes Only. And we will begin, as I say, in a minute or so. Just hold on for 1 second while we begin. So, excuse me while I have a sip of tea. This is the redo of this particular discussion, and I'll explain what I hope to have as the tone of today's discussion. It will be pretty casual, but we'll of course be focusing on this film. Again, I'll explain that in a moment or so. Erwin is here. Hello, it's nice to see you. Mike says, I can't believe the end is here. Well, I suppose last week was really the end. Glad that we're running this one back. Yes, Seth is here. Hello, it's nice to see you. Thank you so much. Yes, and you say at the end here, my favorite detail I noticed this time was the capital B's on Bond's ski jacket. And Damn Fool says, interestingly, I finally found another of the rare of You Two Will Kill Find Your Fate tie-in books this morning. Ooh, very interesting. Very, very interesting. Well done. Well done. It's nice to see you. Okay, we will begin. Let's see, what's the time? Sorry about this. We always go a little bit late here. Okay, it's 3 minutes after 7. We will go. We will start in about a minute. Jared is here. Hello. It's nice to see you. Great to see you. Can't wait. Except For Your Eyes Only. Oops. There we go. Okay, so how's the sound, by the way? Is the sound okay? Excuse me. Sorry. Pardon my sneeze. Okay. Carl Hayes is here. Hello. Damn Fool responds, I believe the beads are due to the Bond being outfitted in Bogner's ski wear. Willie Bogner. Damn Fool. Sound is good. Thank you so much. Thank you. All right. Faith and Misery, thank you very much for that check. Much appreciated, my dear friends. Okay, let us begin, shall we? Greetings from Tokyo, my dear friends. This is Daisuke, and welcome to another live stream discussion where we will be talking about a James Bond film. Today's topic of discussion is this film, the 1981 work, which is directed by John Glenn. It is his first directorial effort in the James Bond film series, in a series of films that will last throughout the 80s. And we begin here, as I say, in 1981 with this film starring the one, the only, Roger Moore as James Bond 007. Yes, it is this film, For Your Eyes Only. So I'm looking forward very much to this discussion, very, very much, my dear friends. A quick note, I have mentioned this before, but I will say it again because it is very important from my perspective. We have already in the past spoken and discussed this film for Your Eyes Only in the context of a live stream a few months back, if I recall correctly, and I enjoyed myself very much. It was a wonderful opportunity to talk about that, so thank you so much for that, my dear friends. Unfortunately, due to some technical glitch that is totally my fault, I accidentally deleted that particular live stream, again, purely by accident. It was totally unintentional, but unfortunately, yes, that has been lost. And so we will do this again. And so this is, in essence, a redo of that discussion. So I don't know if I'll be able to cover every single point that, for instance, we say covered in the last live stream discussion on For Your Eyes Only. So if you, my dear friends, attended last time and you remember something that we discussed and maybe I have now forgotten or didn't talk to about today, please, of course, feel free to bring it up to me, and I will be very happy to try to readdress it or to talk about it again in this fashion. But that's another way for me to say that this is going to be a very maybe casual discussion. I suppose they all are very casual anyway, but this is going to be a very casual discussion of the film. I will be trying to talk again about how much I really enjoy this film For Your Eyes Only. Really, I do. I'm a big, big fan of the Roger Moore film series run of James Bond films, and this one is a very special one in that particular canon of works. And I'll try to get to that. And of course, please, my dear friends, feel free to bring it up as well and talk about this. The live chat function is open for one and for all. Now, a few preliminary points, excuse me, before we begin. As with every other live stream, so I did mention the live chat function. The live chat function is available for you, my dear friends, to talk about this film, to talk amongst each other, to talk with me, and we can hopefully have a nice discussion. And I am always, always so grateful to you, my dear friends. You always show me and you always show everyone else here a great deal of respect and courtesy. And even where there might be disagreement, you always show a sense of respect towards one another. So thank you so much for that, and uh, I will rely on you, my dear friends, for that continuation of a sense of mutual respect going forward during this live chat and live stream discussion. So thank you very much in advance for that, my dear friends. I very much appreciate it. Truly, truly, I do. And the live chat too, you can of course ask questions, and please feel free to let me know if you have any comments or questions directed towards me. I will be focusing my energies today primarily on For Your Eyes Only. So if you have any For Your Eyes Only questions or comments for me, please forgive me in advance. I might skip over it today. Again, I apologize, but I just want to focus primarily on this film. And there will be other James Bond film references, I'm sure, that will be made. But if you have any For Your Eyes Only question or comment that you would still like to direct towards me, please feel free to do so under a comment in a comment under any other video on this particular channel. I do my absolute best to check every single comment, and so please feel free to do so, and I'll be very happy to address anything that you might have directed towards me under a video comment elsewhere in this channel. And I will try to mention everyone here by name, but if I do miss anyone or if I don't mention you, I apologize again. It's not my intention, but maybe I just accidentally missed it, etc. So I apologize in advance, and just you can send a gentle reminder to me, and I'll be very happy to pick it up later in the live chat. And I am coming at this film not as any type of insider, but as a fan of this film. I have watched this film since I was a little kid. I have continued to watch this film. I adore this film, but I don't have any claim to know every single facet of this film. So there are going to be questions and comments that I will have no ability to respond to because I don't know the answers. But I will do my very best to respond, again, from the perspective that I hold as a fan of this film, as well as the other films in the James Bond film series. Last but not least, I will be speaking about spoilers, very specific topics and points of the film, and the plot and the ending and what happens. So, if you have not seen this film for your eyes only yet, my suggestion would be to maybe turn off this live stream and then you can watch the film in your own good time at your own pace. And after you have seen the film for your eyes only, please feel free to come back at any time. This live stream will, and this time, fingers crossed, this live stream will hopefully be uploaded in its entirety, complete with a transcript of the live chat as well. It'll be uploaded in its entirety on this YouTube channel, so you can always return at any time you wish, my friends. But we will be talking about spoilers and points of specificity with respect to the plot going forward. All right, so those are the preliminary points out of the way. So thank you very much as always. So now let me return to the live chat and then we will begin in earnest. So let's see. Okay, let's see. So when was the live stream discussion on for your eyes only? Erwin says it was January, perhaps. I forget exactly. Yes. Um, And Damn Fool Idealistic Crusader says, I adore the grave visit all the more because it fits with Fleming, as Bond would sometimes visit Vesper's grave. And yes, the grave visit, as you refer to, is the pre-title sequence. And in fact, it opens up, the gun barrel sequence opens up on this particular cemetery part, and the visit by Bond to the grave of Tracy. And this is, of course, a very strong and direct link to a past film, which is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's a wonderful link. And that's not the only link, by the way, to On Her Majesty's Secret Service that we'll see in this film. And in fact, in the pre-titles, as you know, we'll get to that momentarily. I'll buy you a delicatessen in stainless steel. That's a joke, by the way. I won't be buying a delicatessen in stainless steel. I don't even know how much a delicatessen in stainless steel costs. So if it costs, for instance, maybe millions of dollars, then I probably won't be buying a delicatessen in stainless steel. By the way, does anyone know how much delicatessen in stainless steel costs? If anyone does, please let me know in the live chat. Let's see. Great. Erwin says, I rewatched it again this week and it remains a great film in the series. Seth, I love everything about Roger Moore Bond, all the way down to the wrinkles next to his eyes. The most charming Bond of all the Bonds for various reasons. He only wanted to give BB an ice cream, yes. Uh, Raymond is here, hello. One of my favorites, Bond films. Great stunts abound in this film. Roger Moore at his best. That cool, sly, funny wit and humor is what makes his Bond my favorite. Zyrother says, I focused on the music this time around and really enjoyed it. Yes, we will talk about the great musical score. Bill Conti, yes. There are some details about the score that I recall I didn't speak about last time, so I'll try to talk about it again. And Seth Walsh says, got the Blu-ray playing in the background and I'm ready for whatever anyone has to say. Can't wait for 2 weeks from now for No Time to Die. Great. Let's see. All right, and let's see here. All right, so it says, oh gosh. Damfool says, despite the synths being dated, the Conti score is really exceptional. It remains one of the best non-Barry scores. I think it's Conti's best score, period. And Damfool continues, For Your Eyes Only really needs to be seen on the big screen to get the full impact. My goodness, I've never seen For Your Eyes Only on the big screen, unfortunately. It was in 1981, and I was born in 79, so it was released after I was born, but I was too young to go to the theater to see it, unfortunately. and thus I've never been able to catch up with it later in life. It would be great if there were a type of festival of James Bond films to be shown in the theater. But alas, as far as my own life experience goes, I've never been able to go see it in the theater. I would love to be able to watch this one day in the theater with an audience and watch this essentially this film, this great film, unfurl, expand, and explode before our very eyes, and the excitement and energy in the air from the very start, and that wonderful crash of the James Bond theme again under the control of Bill Conti and orchestra and company, uh, almost heralding in a sense of the 80s, as it were. A new type of beginning, a new chapter in a manner of speaking. It certainly is a new chapter, especially when we consider what came before it with the great heights that was in the film Moonraker. And now we have, in a sense, a new chapter. According to the words of, say, the making of documentary, James Bond coming back to Earth, in a manner of speaking. And so, but yes, so that comment about watching in the theater is very well taken, my dear friend. I would love to be able to see this one day. And indeed, let me just continue off of this by saying that, as I've mentioned before, I adore this film series, and I've seen this film so many times as a kid. I was utterly in awe, and I was fascinated by it, and it always seemed to me, as a kid growing up, I think for good reason, to be one of the more serious Bond film efforts. It certainly has that going for it in terms of the tone, the directness, the style. There is a type of grittiness to the film. There is, in a sense, a return of sorts to the spy Cold War thriller aspect of the genre, with, of course, the focus of the plot being the race to find and retrieve this ATAC device, which is essentially like this giant calculator. And so the both sides of the Cold War, East and West, so Great Britain as personified by James Bond in his efforts, and as we will find out later, Christatos, essentially working for or working with Eric Kreeler, who is working for the Soviet Union under General Gogol, trying to retrieve the ATAC. So in essence, we have this Cold War thriller with the two sides. And here, which is one of the interesting things too, which I mentioned maybe a little bit in the last live stream, the plot of the film is essentially General Gogol is the bad guy here. He's the one who is spearheading or ordering the operation to retrieve the ATAC for purposes of furthering Cold War spycraft efforts, I suppose. And so he is the one we understand through a set of machinations, which we can only assume. He is the one who is essentially giving the orders to Kriegler and then by extension to Christatos to retrieve the ATAC. And so he's essentially the villain. But as we know, it's a very complex nature and a very interesting relationship that Gogol has with the West, and in particular with Bond and company, Sir Frederick Grey, etc., Ministry of Defense, which we will see. We will see, of course, Frederick Grey in this particular film, perhaps with a bit more prominence, perhaps than usual, because, of course, we don't have the appearance of M here, unfortunately. Uh, uh, Following the passing of the great legend Bernard Lee. So, but we do have Tanner, Chief of Staff, and Frederick Gray, Minister of Defense, to fill in that void, as it were. And the quote unquote M scenes of this film are they are given that particular role or responsibility in the context of the film. But going back to the film For Your Eyes Only, so yes, it did have this serious edge to it, and it was very noticeable growing up as a kid. But at the same time, it was a Roger Moore film, and I've mentioned it before, but I'll say it again. Roger Moore is one of my absolute, if not my absolute favorite Bond actor. I grew up with him. My first Bond film experiences were Roger Moore films, if I recall. It was he and Timothy Dalton, but they have their own different approaches. Roger Moore's being such a maybe I'm not sure if well, perhaps in this film we get a sense of it. I think Seth Walsh mentioned in the chat earlier about the character of BB Doll, and the line, "Are you you put your clothes on, and I'll buy you an ice cream." And so there is almost a sense of the avuncular in Roger Moore's approach, perhaps beginning in particular with this film For Your Eyes Only. But that's not all, of course, because Roger Moore has that wit, that charm, that style, and he has this physical presence as well. He holds his own incredibly. The sequence involving Locke and the final showdown between Bond and Locke as Locke is driving that car towards that arch up atop the the, the mountaintop there, and the arch, which is very reminiscent of the gun barrel, and James Bond standing in the center there with his gun ready to shoot. Who will win this particular battle? Because it's a battle to the death, as we know, and as we know too, we know what happens to Locke at that very moment atop the mountain cliffside. It's a very famous or infamous end, and it's one of the most shocking and iconic moments in a Roger Moore Bond film, or any Bond film for that matter. But in any event, here we have a Roger Moore film, and a brilliant Roger Moore film at that. So once again, growing up with this film, watching this film, I was always fascinated, always in awe, and there were so many other elements too that I was fascinated by, in awe with the other performances by the other actors in this film: Topol, Julian Glover as Christados, Carol Bouquet as Melina, Havelock, and the turns and the twists, and we have the double cross or the triple cross or crossbows, in fact. And so we have the double cross of Christatos as a type of double agent, as it were. He's playing both sides, and so we're not quite sure where his allegiances truly lie, but we know that he is working with Eric Kriegler, who is the East German champion, and they say, according to BB Doll, that he's a defector. But in fact, perhaps we understand too that he's also working for Gogol. So even if he is a defector, it's a type of show or ruse, because he's really not defecting. He's really an agent, or is he? I'm not sure. But in any event, he has superhuman strength, perhaps. So. He can get punched by Bond in the stomach, but he's not phased at all, and he can throw his broken motorcycle. But in any event, what was I saying? So that's Eric Kriegler. But going back to Christados, there's that double cross, and there's a return to the form of Fleming, as it were, with regard to the basis of the story. And so we have a return to Fleming. We have a sense of the Cold War spy thriller espionage that involves the spycraft, the MacGuffin of the ATAC, going back and forth, both sides, from both sides of the Iron Curtain, and the double cross or triple cross, and the nature of the confusion of spycraft. Who's really who? The Christatos character being I think the prime example of this, etc., etc. While at the same time being a Roger Moore Bond film, there is the wit, there is the humor. I love A Drive in the Country, Don't You? The Deux Chevaux sequence, the sequence in Cortina, and the ski chases as well. There's a thrill, there's an excitement in the air, there's a physical presence, the physicality of Roger Moore's Bond, as I mentioned earlier. But the charm and the romance and the wit and the avuncular gentleman spirit that Roger Moore always brings to the table when he performs as James Bond here, and it shows so much, in particular in this film. I love the warm glimpses and reveals of humor here. So all in all, this is one of my absolute favorites, and I look forward very much to resuming or recommencing the conversation with you, my friends, about this film going forward. So that is my opening 2 cents, as it were. But now let us go back to the live chat. Carl Hayes continues. Bill Conti is fantastic. Yes, Bill Conti provides the score here. It's not a John Barry score, as we know, but it is very strong, and it's one of the strongest non-John Barry scores of this particular era. Um, I I I love the, I don't know, there's the romantic theme of For Your Eyes Only as well, which is carries through. It has this lovely calm presence to it, and I like when it's introduced. There is a sense of excitement, and then we can pause and take a breath and just take a moment to enjoy, to stop and enjoy the scenery, or to listen and feel the air, and to enjoy the company of the people that we're with, Bond and Molina and others, and um, um, oh gosh, Columbo, excuse me, and others, and BB, etc. So we can stop and take a moment and enjoy it, and we can listen to For Your Eyes Only with that. And then, of course, there are the beats of excitement in the soundtrack, the de Chauveau car chase as well. That opens the film, not opens, but it starts the proceedings in the main body of the work. And then, of course, there's the very exciting ski chase sequence in the middle of the film, around maybe the first third or the middle of the film, which is very exciting. Another return to the ski chase. We saw ski chase a little bit anyway in The Spy Who Loved Me, but I think this is very reminiscent, all the way down to the blue of the coat and everything. This is very reminiscent of the ski chase, the greatest, one of the best, greatest ski chases sequences in a Bond film, which is from On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And here we have a little bit of the same. It's a really wonderful sequence, and of course, Bill Conti's music carries it through splendidly. Right, and then of course we have before that the ski jump, and the crash of the pianos, dun 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 dun, and then the and the chase, and who is going to chase Bond, or who's going to slowly keep on Bond's tail, but none other than Charles Dance, of all people. So the Charles Dance theme, as it were, and then the dove little bit there. I can't mimic it, but the that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. And then there are moments of sadness too. The song, or the sequence, or the musical notes that accompany the discovery of the body, the death of Luigi Ferrara. It's a really sad, somber moment. And it also ends with the like the as Bond discovers the dove pin in the dead hand of Ferrara. Incidentally, too, there's a wonderful musical moment when Bond and Molina are escaping from the compound at the very start of the film, and Bond's car explodes, and so I think thanks to Bob Simmons. Thanks, Bob, for exploding the Lotus, and then going to Melina's car, and it's the reveal of the De Chauveau, this wonderful yellow car, and Bond does a double take. He's like, huh? And he's so shocked that he can't move, and he's just standing against the tree. He's like, and then boom, and then the bullet nearly hits him, but he goes back and he goes into the car. And I love the Bill Conti musical motif here when the car is revealed. That wah, 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 wah. It's almost as though Bill Conti, through his musical soundtrack, is throwing the De Chauveau under the bus, as it were. And indeed, a few moments later, we will actually see the De Chauveau get thrown under a bus, in a manner of speaking. It'll, of course, get reverted back, and then it'll go off. And then, my goodness, the De Chauveau will show everyone what the De Chauveau is made of. And indeed, it is made of a lot of stuff, and it's wonderful. That's a wonderful little detail of the Bill Conti score that I love. Incidentally, in that sequence too, Bond with that poolside table umbrella. You If you see Bond, if you see Roger Moore with a poolside table umbrella, stand back. Don't go anywhere near Roger Moore during that, because he's just going to be going like this and jumping off and using that as a type of parachute. Oh, wonderful. It's almost like bulletproof, and just people are shooting, but you can't hit him because of this giant umbrella. Fantastic, fantastic. But anyway, uh, it's a great set of music. I remember too that when the soundtrack of For Your Eyes Only first hit the CD market, I was so excited. I remember it. I forget the exact date when I first saw it, but it was during that first run of the expanded CD soundtrack releases, and so when it first hit, I was so thrilled, because before then I think it was very difficult, or it was impossible, if I recall correctly, to find the CD soundtrack of it. So it was exciting, so exciting when it first. It was that, and it was around that time that that expanded soundtrack was released for Your Eyes Only, and then the soundtrack for on CD for The Living Daylights. So that was a very exciting time, and also I think later on Octopussy, etc. So that was such an exciting time. Yes, the For Your Eyes Only soundtrack on CD, getting that as a kid and listening to those tracks all the time. It was wonderful. Um, and I love when the theme for the ski chase, it goes up. I don't know what the exact terminology is. I'm not a musician, but it goes up a particular like tempo or register. Uh, when it goes into the bobsled sequence, and oh, it's so great. Oh, it's so wonderful. And it goes, and he goes off, and he goes over the cow, and he tumbles. Oh, and you get during the tumble, we get the trademark ooh of Roger Moore, but we don't just get the ooh of Roger Moore. We also get the of Eric Kriegler as his motorcycle also crashes and he tumbles, and you hear Roger Moore's ooh, and then and then pretty soon after you hear the Eric Kriegler oh, and then and then you the bent gun and then the motorcycle and the wheel and he goes off, and that's it. But they will meet again at St. Cyril's, of course, for their final showdown. But Bond, very clever, he uses that, I guess. I'm not sure what it is exactly. It's like a steel poker candelabra of some sort, and instead of going at Eric Kriegler's stomach or torso area, he goes for the rock. So don't go here, but go here. And then if I were Eric Krieger, what would I do in that situation if I'm holding this heavy rock thing? Because he likes to just throw and lift things and throw. That's probably Eric's weakness. It's his fault, right? He wants to show off his strength, and he's very strong. Don't get me wrong, but he's maybe showing off to a fault. He's picking things up. He's picking too many things up. If he had just not picked up that stone rock, because it takes time. Even though he's strong, he takes time to do that. If he'd not picked that up, he would have still had kept his advantage. But oh well, oh well. That was probably his character flaw, and and Bond took advantage of it. And so Bond essentially, it was like if it would be the same thing. He picked up the motorcycle because he wanted to show how strong he was. It was useless, but that probably was a fatal flaw. It was obviously a fatal flaw because it led to Eric Kriegler's death. Although we're not quite sure. Maybe Eric survived the fall. I'm not sure. Maybe he did. Maybe he's still around, searching, and maybe he'll meet other people like Zoran. Maybe he'll go into the ocean and meet Zoran, and they'll get into their separate adventures or something like that. But in any event, um, that was very clever of Bond to not go for the torso, but in fact go for the stone. I think that adds insult to injury. He's like, I remember I remember you, and you picked up the motorcycle. You want to pick up another motorcycle? Here, have this. And he just does that. And if I were Eric Kriegler, the weight, I would have probably let go of the stone. Although if I'd let go of the stone, it would have landed on my head. But what would I rather prefer to have happen? Would I rather prefer to have my head injured from the stone falling on my head, or would I rather fall out the window to my death? Probably the former over the latter, but again, to each his or her own. In any event, yes. What was I talking about? The score, yes. Anyway, we will go. Incidentally, at the very end here, the St. Cyril's, right? We have what I understand to be one of the, if not the only moment where we actually hear the actual voice of Carol Bouquet and her performance when she says "Out of my way, James." I want to say that that's her real voice. It has been dubbed all the way throughout the film. My understanding. If I'm incorrect, please, or if I'm correct, or if you want to acknowledge that, please let me know. Or if I'm incorrect, please correct me in the live chat. Um, and the whole thing about be prepared to dig two graves, which of course came at the very start of the film. The saying, the Chinese have a saying, when you try to seek revenge, be prepared. You have to dig two graves. But then she retorts at that moment. She says, I'm half Greek. She says, Greek women like Electra always avenge their loved ones. I must go. And at the same time, returning to the Bill Conti greatness of the music. And it goes into that wonderfully smug uh, uh, conference with the chief of staff. You were ordered to question Gonzalez, not let Mintz Havelock perforate him. Oh, the way he says the word perforate. Oh, that's great. Speaking of what about that wonderful moment of Sir Frederick Gray when Bond says, I think if you refer to, what is it, page 2, paragraph 4 of my report, you'll note that I saw someone pay off Gonzalez. And Frederick Gray says, I don't follow. He says, so the whole point is that and the whole way of propelling the plot forward is if we can find out who paid off Gonzalez, then there might be a glimmer of hope. And that leads the chief of staff to order Bond to go to Q's office to use what's referred to as the identigraph. And then I love the line here by Sir Frederick Gray. We'll get cracking goes. That's another, I think. I don't know if it's I'm not sure if it's on purpose, but that there's another character in the film on Her Majesty's Secret Service that had dialogue very much similar to Sir Frederick Gray, Minister of Defense's dialogue in this particular moment of the film. So it's wonderful. Yeah. So get cracking, 007. Right, and then that goes into the identigraph scene with Q and Sharon and the whole sequence, which at the time, as I say, as a kid growing up watching this identigraph, this identity sketch sequence, this computerized identity sketch sequence with Q, was so cool. It was so cool, and I laughed all the time when the nose extended, and then what does Bond say? A nose, not a banana. Q. That was such a funny line. Um, and there's this grumpiness, which is part of the fun and nature of the Q Bond relationship, and dun 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 dun, and Q's like, ugh. But then when they get in, and Q and Bond helps Q, Q says, "Thank you, 007." So there's also this sense of mutual respect. So I really admire that very much. I love this particular sequence. A banana for a nose in particular. So anyway, I'm sorry. I'm I'm monopolizing the conversation yet again, so let me now return to the live chat and remedy this. Let's see here. Kevin O'Connell is here. Hello. Love this film personally. I really like how it's like a travel book as well. It takes time for Bond to explore the location. For example, Bond and Melina in Greece. Yes, when after Bond returns from Italy, from Cortina, and he meets Melina, and they're talking, and then right there's this moment where they're just traveling, and they're walking the streets, and it's a lovely moment. And then there's also this moment when it's a distant shot, and the two of them, and there's no cut in, there's no close up, it's just the two of them in the distance, Melina's talking about the hardships that she's so facing because her parents are dead or were murdered, and Bond says, I will follow up a lead, and that then leads to the casino sequence and meeting with Christatos, and then also introducing Columbo and the Countess, and Bunky, and the unfriendly shoe, as it were, and then the return of the baccarat gambling tables, which is another great Fleming touch. Again, a return to a sort of Fleming form, or James Bond form, as it were, in a manner of speaking. So let's see. Seth Seth Walsh continues, any of these films on the big screen would be epic. It's what convinced me to see the new one in the theater. Can't wait. Hope we are able to get together after that one for another live stream. Yes, I will speak a little bit about my plans for the new film at the end of this live stream. So thank you very much for that. Raymond says, love seeing Topol in this film, and also Charles Dance is one of Locke's baddies. Yes. And then the elevator door closes and it opens. It's a reveal. Charles Dance. Oh my goodness. If you're in an elevator and the door opens and you see Charles Dance, wow. Oh, the thrill and the hair stand on end type of moment. Wow, yes. Oh my goodness. I've never been in an elevator with Charles Dance, but I can imagine what that feeling of suspense might be like. My goodness. Yes, anyway. Yes, yes, wonderful. Okay. Um, Let me see here. Sorry about this. Now I am. Oh my goodness. Here we go. The live chat function is, again, wreaking havoc upon me. But now I think I'm back in control. Damn Fool says the score is well recorded. Yes. Oh, goodness. Um, let's see. Seth says, I love how they keep the continuity of Bonds connected, even if there is a new actor playing Bond. Henok is here. Hello, it's nice to see you, my dear friend. This movie is flawless, as you say. Uh, let's see. Vince is here. Hello, Vince Ostrowski. I hope this. I very much hope that you're well. And you say, I've always had a soft spot for the Roger Moore James Bond films. Those are the ones I saw at the theater as a kid. Even at their silliest, they were fun to watch. Yes, well done, well done. Kevin says, I live in Ireland, so I'm seeing No Time to Die on Wednesday at midnight. Wow, wow, very, very cool. Very, very cool. I hope we can discuss it here. Yes, yes, we will be having a live stream discussion. I don't know when, but we will be having a live stream discussion on No Time to Die. Maybe sometime, maybe mid to late October. And again, more details to come sometime after when we finish this discussion here today, but before we leave today. Let's see. Henok says, Bill Conti, wow, how can I forget his amazing music? Uh, Raymond says, I love when Bond says, keep your hair on, and taps his head. Yes. Oh, you want to get off? Yes, we're talking about the pre-title sequence with the figure that is I'll say, that is probably, perhaps most likely meant to be Blofeld. And for those who know the background of the Blofeld character, McClory, and the great legal drama that occurred. There are some reasons for this, but in any event, we have this Kevin McClure. I'm sorry, not Kevin McClure. We have Blofeld returning, in a manner of speaking. But this is a different Blofeld, if it is indeed Blofeld. I mean, I suppose it might not necessarily be Blofeld. I suppose, right? Because there can be a lot of there can be many people who are bald and who have a neck brace and who are in these highly technologically advanced wheelchairs, who own cats, white cats that have diamond collars. I'm sure there are many people like that in the world. It's not just Blofeld, but maybe many other. I mean, I don't know. I can't count. But I'm sure there are. I mean, there have to be, right? I mean, the world is large, right? Uh, so it might or might not be Blofeld, who knows? But in any event, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. So uh, it's an interesting depiction of the quote unquote Blofeld character. And let's talk about the pre-titles, for instance. So there are a number of interesting details. I'm not sure if I mentioned last time. So number one, the priest who is in the graveyard scene at the beginning, and he informs Bond about how Universal Exports have asked him to return and gives him the message, and he goes into the helicopter, and then James Bond, after the helicopter pilot goes like, like as James Bond does his safety belt, and he sees through the window the priest going like this. I never understood that. Is that meant to suggest that the priest is a Spectre agent? I'm not sure. He could be. I'm not sure. There was a little bit of a sinister feeling. There's a little bit of a zoom in close up on Bond's face as he looks. I'm not sure in any event, but we also know that the helicopter pilot of this helicopter, which does say Universal Exports on the side there, the helicopter pilot, according to Blofeld, the helicopter pilot is one of his agents or one of his maybe less reliable people. I forget the exact phrase. And you really, Mr. Bond, don't you have any respect for the dead as the body tumbles out of the helicopter? Incidentally, is it just me, or does that helicopter pilot bear a striking resemblance to Never Say Never Again's Largo? He looks a little bit, quite a lot, in fact, like the Largo in Never Say Never Again. And so, of course, we will see Never Say Never Again emerge a couple of years after For Your Eyes Only. And we did talk about Never Say Never Again in a previous live stream, of course. But it's always, I always think, oh, maybe wouldn't that be interesting if this was Largo, and maybe if this film came after Never Say Never Again, maybe Largo's like, I survived, Bond, and this is my revenge for you besting me in my favorite video game called Domination. Ah! So, in any event. But of course, that the timing doesn't work for that particular scenario because it comes later. In fact, comes in a separate alternate universe. But in any event, what was I saying? So yes, the pre-title sequence. It's a very exciting sequence with the helicopter and the emergence of the da, 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 da. And I think, if I recall correctly, the cat meow or the cat scream is not heard, but in fact the Bill Conti music is in fact almost substituting the scream when the control wire is ripped, and the Blofeld is like on his control panel. Oh, why isn't this working? And so so we get the cat, but you don't hear the cat scream, but you hear the da 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 da, and the blinking red light. It's great. And then the close up on Roger Moore's face. He's like, "Thank goodness I was able to do this." And he says, he takes a breath and just goes, and then he gets back in control, and he goes after Blofeld. The cat escapes, by the way, so the cat's still out there, I think, with the diamond collar. In any event, the cat's still roaming around this whatever these works here. The gas works, I suppose, and then Bond goes and uses the helicopter leg to go under the technologically advanced wheelchair there. I'm not quite sure how that works exactly. Wouldn't Blofeld, his chair, fall under like this because of the weight? It's top heavy, I assume. And so instead of it being, this is the helicopter and this is Blofeld, wouldn't it go like this, and Blofeld wouldn't fall because unless he's wearing a seatbelt, I'm not sure. But anyway, I know it's part of the action of the film, and that leads to Raymond's comment about, okay, keep your hair on, that wonderful line. And of course, there's the line too, I'll buy you a delicatessen in stainless steel. And I'd like to think Bond would maybe in an alternate scenario of the scene, hears that line and says, oh, and a delicatessen in stainless steel, oh, that sounds very enticing. Actually, I'll take you up on that offer. And so let's land the helicopter and let's make a deal. Great idea. Not, and goes and drops him in the chute there at the end. And that's, again, a wonderful reference back to On Her Majesty's Secret Service, because the neck brace, the bald look, this is reminiscent, of course, of Telly Savalas's Blofeld performance in that earlier film, On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Perhaps the one detail is the voice. There is a slightly, I'm not sure, there is a slightly, maybe, I can't identify it specifically to a specific region, but there is a little bit of maybe a European accent involved. And so it's, of course, that voice doesn't match, for instance, Telly Savalas, who has this very prominent, almost thick American accent when he performed as Blofeld. And of course, there were the other performers, Donald Pleasance, Charles Gray, etc., who had the almost like a British accent. Although Donald Pleasance's Blofeld and You Only Live Twice had this maybe this interesting mix of ambiguity. It wasn't quite clear exactly what region of the world maybe he came from. So maybe an extension of that particular detail of the voice of Blofeld. But no matter, no matter. It's, I think, all part of the overall, say, Blofeld aesthetic. But then, right, it leads to Mr. Bond. Dun, 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 dun. For your eyes. Right. So sorry for my very poor Sheena Easton impression. I'm not good with my singing. I have a very poor voice, so I will totally destroy any rendition of For Your Eyes Only. So I won't even try. I won't even try. But in any event, it's a beautiful song. It's a great link to the past, the wonderful expressions of Roger Moore, and a great opening, a type of classic feel opening that also is harkening back to references of the past, but also leading to the future in a very kind of symbolic way. It's almost like saying, we have the Blofeld character, which is a classic character, but we're now throwing this character down the chute in favor of, say, a new era. The 1980s era has begun, and indeed it is like a feeling of the film which is very much uh, setting, like, it feels like it's looking forward rather than making references back, although at the same time it has this classic feel. So there's this paradoxical way which this film operates. It's not necessarily looking back on the James Bond elements per se, but it's looking back on the Ian Fleming elements, the spy thriller, Cold War espionage elements, while forging a path forward, again under the direction of John Glenn and company. So it's a wonderful, almost symbolic way to start the film and then proceed on forward. But it's also really clever and really cute and funny, and also it's a wonderful batch of references for many a James Bond film fan. That's for sure. Damn fool. The effects in this film are astonishing. Yes, they're so perfect they remain invisible, and a tribute to Derek Medding's genius. Yes. Uh, Mike Eli says, I want to say cost $1 million. So perhaps this is the delicatessen, how much a delicatessen in stainless steel costs. It could be $1 million, perhaps. I'm not sure. Um, let's see. Just scrolling down here. Scrolling down. Sorry. Let's see. Um, Scrolling down. Yes. Here we go. Um, Damfool says this began the John Glenn 80s era, yes, and when the films focus most on pulling out unused Fleming elements, yes. I'm still amazed they pulled off the keel hauling sequence, yes. This is the very famous sequence this is from Fleming, too. Melina and Bond tied up, and Christodo's dragging them um, through the water there, through the shark-infested waters, and his back is being dragged across the coral, and this bloody, and you see the bloody trail. It's really gruesome, very savage, and then. I mentioned it before, you don't want to be George Leach and working for Cristados on a boat in shark-infested waters, do you? My goodness. Oh, leave him. Oh, poor guy. He was only doing his job, but oh well. Oh well. He's swimming in the shark skin. Ah. But anyway, um, let's see here. I'm sorry, and Seth said earlier, once again, the villain could have so easily killed Bond and would rather have toyed with him instead. It's in an easily escapable dilemma. This is an interesting thing, too. It also continues what Seth's saying in this fashion when you have the car chase, excuse me, the car chase at the start of the main body of the film. And excuse me, sorry, hold on. Excuse me, my apologies. And then remember, you have Bond and Melina in the Disheville, the yellow car, and they're being chased around the countryside. And the cars, I think there are two of them. They're chasing them. They each have these. They're armed with. They're people with guns, and they're shooting at Bond and Melina and the gun. But when there's a moment when they're driving side by side, and there's that famous moment where Bond is driving, he looks and that wonderful Roger Moore smile. It's wonderful, that acknowledgement. Hello. Oh, hello. Yeah. And at the time, right, they're side by side. So the people in the car with the guns, they could have shot at Bond and Moline at the moment, but do they? No, they're doing the whole thing of like hit ramming the side of the car, etc. I want to say that probably that is because maybe they are underestimating this de Chauveau. They think, oh, look at this puny, weak car. We don't need to shoot. We'll just ram them, and that'll be the end of that. And so, that's probably their weakness and their mistake, which is underestimating the Bond and Moline in the de Chauveau, the yellow car. And so that's probably why when they're side by side like that, and it happens not once but twice, by the way, at least when they're side by side, you don't see them actually shooting the guns at Bond side. I think they're probably thinking, oh, that's too easy. Let's do it the old-fashioned way of ramming them off the road. But of course, Bond and Molina get the better of them at the end, as we know, and the car flips over, and when the bad guy car is upside down and it's uh, falling down the hillside there, there's that wonderful moment of the guy who's in the driver's seat and he's trying to steer the steering wheel and it's upside down. Ah, it's a wonderful moment. And then of course when it's on the road there upside down and you get that close up of the guy and he's upside down and his eyes are bloodshot and then the other car just rams him and it does a little turn. My goodness, my goodness. Um, and then at the end, of course, he says, "Oh, you know, we haven't been properly introduced. My name's Bond, James Bond." That's wonderful. Yes, I love this film so much. Anyway, where was I? Here we go. Okay. Sorry, just scrolling down here. Robert Smith is here. Hello. And you say, love your channel. Well, thank you very much, Robert. That's very kind of you. And you continue. I really enjoyed this Bond film. Moore is my favorite Bond. That may be due to the fact that he was the first Bond I ever saw. Believe his performance here is quite good. Yes, yes. Thank you, Robert. Wonderful comment. And Zyrother mentions pigeons. Damn Fool says, as I like to call it, the John Glenn jump scare. Yes. Um, you're talking about the mountain face. Yes, a lot of pigeons and doves of that sort in John Glenn. He says it, you know, um, was it Hitchcock would make appearances in his films, and so for me, I suppose I have my Hitchcockian motif. So that's according to John Glenn and the various John Glenn interviews that are included in many a documentary here, and so we see a lot of those jump scare moments. I think again one of my favorites is in The Living Daylights, and you see a close up of Timothy Dalton's face. It's like wonderful moment, wonderful. But any of it. Let's see. Seth Wall says, I love when Roger Moore says they have 8 minutes of helium. Oxygen. Sorry. Okay, oxygen. Okay. But so that's it. Yes. If it were helium, that would be a very interesting situation indeed. Yes. Um, yeah. And Zaruther says the sound mix for the submarine battle was really well done. That stuck out to me this time. Yes, that's a really good point about the sound. And I should say also that that always gave me. I was always it's slightly disturbing to me the very highly claustrophobic feel and what happens to that um, that that one person sub vehicle and how that person is eventually trapped in the depths. No one will save him. I don't know. Is he still trapped down there? My goodness. I don't even want to be. Ugh, it's very frightening. But in any event, yes, those sequences are really well done, and the underwater sequences are well done. Although, it speaking of underwater sequences, one thing that I will never understand to this very day, and please, anyone in the audience and the viewers, my friends, if you know the answer to this, please let me know. But why does Melina, when Bond and Melina meet underwater, uh, why does she take off her air tank underwater and leave it there and go up? Why does she do that? I don't know why. Is there a reason for that? Is it to avoid the bends? I'm not sure, but then again, I don't quite know. They're not really that deep, submerged in the depths, right? So it's not that deep where they are, I think. So I always want, why do they, what did she take off her tank? Is she saying we might need this air tank later in the film? And so why don't I just take it off and we can go up? It's wonderful to see, right? It's a great moment. It's a very romantic moment, from a certain manner of speaking. And so they go up, and again allows for another moment for the instrumental version of the theme song "For Your Eyes Only." It's great, and we see Roger Moore in the air, the not air, but what actually it is. It's not really underwater, but it's meant to be underwater. But we see Roger Moore, and he's got the thing in his mouth. He'll go, yeah, it's great. Even with that stuff on his face, Roger Moore's chemistry and his his demeanor really shines through every single time. It's wonderful. But why does she take off the tank? I'm not sure. Uh, if she says, yeah, maybe when they go up on the in the surface, Bond will say, "By the way, why did you take off the tank? Don't you need it?" And maybe Melina says, "We might need it again later, James. So let's just leave it down there for the time being." And James, "Oh, okay, oh, okay." So, and then after the that hall, the keel hall sequence at the end, and Melina's mending or attending to Bond's wounds on his back, and she says, "Thank you." Maybe before that scene, maybe there's a little exchange between Melina and Bond. It says, and Melina says, "See, I told you we would need the tank later," or something like that. Anyway, sorry. So, um, let's see here. Um, Irwin says that underwater sequence is a bit too long, but that's about my only criticism of this film. Hanno Charm is here again. Hello, it's nice to see you. What a bold and unusually emotional Bond film this is. Interesting, emotional. I can't even highlight a moment. There are so many iconic ones. Yes, everything about this feels creative and fresh. Seth, also another opportunity for henchmen to be eaten by sharks. Classic Bond. Uh, Dampool says the Dolby stereo mix is really well done for the time. I think the Laserdisc really beats the later versions in sound quality. And Henoch says, yes, the scene is reminiscent of a key sequence that is ripped from the novel Live and Let Die. Seth Walsh continues, I always feel like I'm running out of breath in those claustrophobic underwater scenes. Yes, it's that moment when Melina is desperately uh, receiving that oxygen because of what happened to her just moments prior. It's really quite thrilling, that sequence, and it's very scary. The vulnerability that the people have underwater, and it shows again in that quick moment of Melina. Really, that is it translates so effectively in that sequence. Yes, just scrolling down. Yes, Seth Wall says love the yellow car, and this is such a contender for top Bond favorite for me as well. I'm so happy to be a part of this live stream. Well, it's so nice to see you. It's great to see you as always. And Henoch says, continues, the ski chase is incredibly well handled. Yes. Um, let's see. Just scrolling down. Sorry, skipping over a number of comments. I apologize, but let's see. Hanno Charm says the score is so grand. Yes, I love the booming brass synths that play among other places in the submarine sequence. Yes. The ski chase. It's wonderful. Irwin says Bond cutting the wire in half at the end of the ski jump uh, is pure cinema gold. Yeah, that boom. Oh, it's great. Yes, that sound like that. Boom. Ah, it's great. Yes. Uh, Henoch says Remy Julien. Yes, the car stuntman and his team supervise both the Dujovos chase and the Cortina bit where Bond gets away from two baddies. Seth Walsh, the umbrella slows his fall. Amazing. Yes. Um, Seth Wall says the girl's reaction when the henchman takes the money. She was just handled away from her. The music at that scene. And yes, there's another great. I love that sound. Like, ah, that she makes when the guy takes the money out of her hands. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I would feel the same way. I like, oh, I got this money. And oh, right. Oh, I got this money. I can buy more Blu-rays. That's what. Oh no. Oh well. Let's see. Raymond says, I love the ski chase scene when the henchmen on the motorcycle get off on the motorcycle to shoot him. Then Bond does that great ski twist jump and that cool sound when knocks him over. And then, of course, yes, that sound of the line snapping, and then it goes into the great ski chase. Wonderful. And then all going swerving in and out of the crowd, the line of the students taking the ski lesson, and they all fall down like dominoes, and we see the appearance of that mysterious guy and the drink from Spy Who Loved Me, and then Moonraker, um, and now For Your Eyes Only. It's a reminder that we have a three-peat, a Spy, and then um, um, oh gosh, what am I saying? Moonraker, and uh, For Your Eyes Only, excuse me. So, Spy Who Loved Me and Moonraker and For Your Eyes Only, each taking place in some part of Italy. So Italy is getting a lot of attention in this particular sequence of Bond films. But let's see. Going forward here, let me see. Okay, scrolling. CBC Legend is here. Hello. Let's see. Sorry, just scrolling down here. I'm skipping over a number of comments. I apologize. Um, let's see here. Scrolling down. So Raymond says, yeah, that is his flaw. All brawn and no brains with The Rock he did. We're talking about Eric. Although I wouldn't call him, maybe I would say, I think he's a very smart, he's a smart villain. He's very, for instance, I think that shows in his marksmanship with the rifle, and I think he's very intelligent. It's just that I think maybe his ego with his strength maybe gets the better of him. That's how I would probably describe it. But yes, it was his downfall. That's definitely the case. Chiggers is here. He's here. Hello. It's nice to see you, my friend. Um, Damfool says, For Your Eyes Only is perhaps the best Bond score to drive around. Oh, that's interesting. What is the best Bond score to listen to while driving? For Your Eyes Only, that's a really good one. I don't know. I love License to Kill, but is that a good score to listen to while driving? Probably not. Then again, I haven't driven a car in quite some time, so I can't really say. But I can imagine, yes, For Your Eyes Only would be a really good driving soundtrack. That's certainly the case. Although, what would you be listening? Would you be listening to? Could you imagine the ski chase music? Listening to that while driving? Well, actually, I can. That would be really cool. But also, yes, For Your Eyes Only, the theme song. Listening to that and driving, that kind of relaxed uh, uh, feel to it as you're driving maybe along in the sunshine and the sunset, and you see the space in front of you and the breeze as you have the window down and you listen. Oh, For Your Eyes Only. I can imagine that. That's really lovely. That is really lovely. Yes. Seth Walsh says, I love how pistachio nuts, yes, speaking of Columbo and Topo, what a wonderful character this is. How save the lives in this film. Yes, they do, in terms of the pistachio nuts being a great symbol for Topo. Not Topo, but for Columbo, right? Because Columbo, he smuggles things. He smuggles diamonds, he smuggles pistachio nuts, but he doesn't smuggle heroin. Right? That's the difference between him and Christatos. And so that is or one of the bases for this friendship turned into this very dangerous sort of bitter rivalry, and they've become bitter enemies, Christatos and Columbo. And I love that rivalry, that relationship. It suggests something very deep, and it suggests a type of mythology of this particular story that really helps further embellish the world, and um, that leads to, for example, the introduction of the Countess and that lovely exchange between Bond and the Countess. Along and that from the casino to the beach side, and when they're walking to, and the death of the Countess occurs. That is also very reminiscent in terms of echoes. I mentioned maybe that how the film doesn't necessarily make references to the past, but actually I was mistaken, because in the body of the film, especially during the sequence on the beach with the Countess and her death, a very sad, tragic death, this has echoes of On Her Majesty's Secret Service again. Right down to the look of Bond, the fight on the beach. It's not quite the same, I understand, but in terms of the Countess, here's another uh, a Countess of sorts, and her death or near death. Well, in the case of 40 Hours Only, it's unfortunately leads to her death, but I'm speaking, I suppose, also of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. It's not quite there, but it's very similar, and also the nature of the fight, etc. So that is another echo to the past, I suppose. So let me just correct the record in terms of what I was saying earlier. It's not quite that is a new chapter, but there are hallmarks or there are references back as well, even in the main body of the film. But yes, this is further creating the mythology. Again, it's just based on the Cristados Colombo relationship or bitter rivalry, and how this, for instance, Colombo says that he was studying Saint Cyril's for just such an occasion, and right, he has to Bond. He says to Bond that he has to climb up the right side of the mountain face in order to access the shed. So that's a very interesting point. And then also, as Seth says, yes, the pistachio nuts save the day in a number of ways. In one way, because he uses the pistachio nuts in the scene where they raid the dock, and they're inside the storehouse there on the dock front, and he uses the pistachio nuts as a means to detect if there are any people nearby, and you can hear the crack of the pistachio nuts as one of the henchmen steps on it. So that leads them to shoot the barrels of, I suppose, raw opium, and so they uh, I think they killed the guy. I think, I'm not sure, but anyway, that's one way the pistachio nuts are very, very important and symbolic and significant. But also, of course, they when at the end when everything is resolved in a sense, and Columbo is still injured on the ground, BB and and um, and Brink are there, and BB is taking care or tending to Columbo's wounds, I think, and we see Columbo giving BB doll some pistachio nuts, and then Bond says, "Oh, seems like BB found a new sponsor," and so that's again the symbolic gesture of this pistachio nuts. Very important, very important. Yes. Irwin says, "Frederick, great, yes." And of course, we see Frederick Grey again, but we don't just see the Minister of Defense. We also see the Prime Minister as well. Um, Mrs. Thatcher, Margaret Thatcher, and Dennis. Dennis, incidentally, is the same actor who portrayed Fordyce, I think, in Casino Royale, I think. So please correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Here we go. Raymond Rodriguez says, yes, Carol Bouquet was dubbed, but in the French version, she dubbed herself. Uh, yes, Adamful says, and we get the identigraph from the Goldfinger novel. Yes. And Seth says, I also love the foreshadowing to that super scary pinching dive suit that is in the warehouse that gets blown up. Yes, so they had more of them. It wasn't just that one. They had another one. They had a spare somewhere in a locker that was outside of that warehouse. Incidentally, whenever I see a suit like that, I always think of the film. Do you know the film Deep Star Six? There's a there is a string of or this trend of underwater horror films. There's Leviathan, and then there's Deep Star Six. And so I think Deep Star Six was the one that had the cover art with that type of deep dive suit. But yes, yes, it has that really ominous look to it. Really cinematic. Well done. Um, let's see. Okay, just scrolling down here. Oops. Sorry, again, the chat function, I apologize. It jumps on me. Here we go. Let me just, I found my place. Henox says, Topol's Columbo is, I think, by far the best accomplice that I've ever seen. Ooh, very interesting. Raymond Rodriguez have talking about Q. Yes, Seth says, or when Q is a bearded priest in the confessional booth. Yes, forgive me, Father, for I have sinned, according to Irwin. That's putting it mildly. 007. I don't know if I can't do it, but that's a great moment when Q is in the field. So here we have Q. Q actually is able to go into the field on a number of occasions. So this is wonderful. So we see him here in For Your Eyes Only, in the field, as it were, in disguise. So he's a field agent. And also we see him in the field in Thunderball, and also You Only Live Twice. He goes to Japan, and also Diamonds Are Forever too. I think he goes to Las Vegas, and with that whole thing with the fingerprint thing. And then I want to say, does he? When does he go into the field next? He goes into the field in The Spy Who Loved Me when he brings the car along and introduces the Lotus to it. I think in Sardinia before they go off and meet Stromberg at Atlantis. And let's see, where else did he go into the field? Does he go into the field in Moonraker? I don't think so. Actually, no, he does in a way, because when Bond meets up with everyone, everyone is in the field before Bond takes the boat and goes into the final battle with Drax. But let's and then now in For Your Eyes Only, he's in the field again, and he will be in the field in a number of places. I think he's in the field in A View to a Kill when he's using that robot dog to try to find where Bond is at the end. And so he's in America, I think. He's in the field in Octopus. He's actually very much in the field in Octopus. He's a field agent working alongside Bond and VJ, and then he's driving that hot air balloon, and he gets he gets the some of the affections of the women of Octopussy's troop there. So that's great. Well done, Q. And then of course he's in the field again in License to Kill. So that's great. So he's a field agent. Q really is quite a versatile agent. Well done, Q. Well done, Q, indeed. Um, let's see. What is this? Seth Wall says, "You have chosen poorly." So that's a reference to Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. And of course, that is a very apt reference indeed because of the connection of Julian Glover. Julian Glover, who appears in both Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade and the this film, For Your Eyes Only. Yes. So, and he also appears in Empire Strikes Back, and of course, there's that great connection. I was speaking of Blofeld earlier with Empire Strikes Back and Lobot. Right? I always think, wouldn't it be wouldn't it be cool if James Bond went to Cloud City in Empire Strikes Back, and he sees Lobot, and he's fighting Lobot, and takes him on using his helicopter, and then Lobot says, "I'll buy you a delicatessen in stainless steel." All right, keep your hair on. But in any event, James Bond versus Lobot. That's his name, right? Lobot. Again, if I get my details incorrect, please correct me. But anyway. Yes, so Julian Glover. Julian Glover. I mean, he was in Indiana Jones films. He was in James Bond. He was in Doctor Who, and so many, so many. But let's see. That was a great scene, by the way, in Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade. What does he say to Indiana Jones? Don't trust anyone. Anyone who says that is not to be trusted in an Indiana Jones film, I suppose. But in any event, yes. Oh, Damien restores your hello. So hi, Dice. I was lucky enough. Oh, really? To have met Julian Glover and Jack Claff at Newcastle Comic Con in 2014. Wow. They said it was a good idea to by Glenn to get back to basics, and I totally agree. Wow, that's so cool. That's really cool. Um, well, let's see. So, Carl Hayes. Okay, guys, catch you later. I'll be. Oh, great. UFC 26 hope you'll talk about the awesome Sheena Easton title song. Cheers, Daisuke. Oh, it's nice to see you, Carl. I hope you're well. Yes, that is a great, great song, by the way. For Your Eyes Only Can See Me Through the Night. Um, you can see so much in me that's new. I never felt until I looked at you. Right? For your eyes only, only for you. You see what no one else can see. And now I'm breaking free. For your eyes only, only for you. Yeah, it's a beautiful song. It is a really beautiful song. Let's see. Erwin says, I will probably go and see No Time to Die next week, but I'm going to see Dune tomorrow. Ooh, very interesting. Very interesting. I hope you enjoy it, Erwin. Damien says, I do think the villains were all effective, and having realistic threats again makes the Bond franchise more enjoyable. We can't have megalomania in every 007 film. Yes, and it's very complex. I didn't mention yet Locke, Emil Leopold Locke, uh, the Michael Gothard character. Wow, we don't hear him speak Um, we hear, I mean, there's the Roger Moore, ooh, and then there's the Eric Kriegler, ooh. And I suppose, and there's also the young woman along the poolside, when the money is taken from her hands. And then we also get the lock sound as well. And I'm referring to the moment when he is on the cliff edge and the car is just falling, and then Bond gives it that final ah. So we get a lot of those sounds. We don't hear him speak, right? We see him speaking on that car telephone in the Cortina sequence at one point, but we don't hear him speak. We see him drinking, I think, Glühwein as he's watching from one of the rafters or the stadium or the ice rink seats overhead, overlooking Bond as he's meeting with Ferrar and Christados as they're looking on at BB's skate rink practice with Java von Brink. So, excuse me. So, but Locke is a really great character. Those glasses are so cool. Steel rimmed, octagonal. The fact that Bond was able to get that detail so quickly, blue eyes a little grayer, the part in the hair, right, and the steel-rimmed octagonal-shaped glasses, very cool. That was so fascinating to me. The word octagonal, and when I was a kid watching the film, I thought, can they make octagonal-shaped glasses? That's so cool. So I don't think, no, I've never owned octagonal shaped glasses in my life, but maybe one day, before I shuffle off this mortal coil, excuse me, I will, if I can find steel rimmed octagonal glasses, I'd love to. Are they really octagonal? I'm not sure, but in any event, it would be so cool. Those are really cool glasses. Um, by the way, there are so many great examples of eyewear in James Bond films. I think Locke's eyeglasses are up there in terms of the best eyeglasses. Damn Fool Idealist Crusader, have you done a ranking of the best glasses eyewear in James Bond films? If you haven't, I'd love to hear your top 10 glasses ranking or top three. Where would Locke fall in that particular ranking? I'm not sure. In that list, you'd also have to include, for instance, the Zorin sunglasses. Those are really great. What are they? The Cartier, I think. And there are, of course, the great sunglasses of James Bond in that same film with the lens that can look through. It's like the X-ray glasses, I suppose. And I suppose the glasses in The World Is Not Enough, we're having a similar effect. The Pierce Brosnan film. Um, what else? What else? Are there any other examples of really iconic top 10 eyeglasses in James Bond films? Maybe they're the glasses worn by Rosa Klebb in From Russia with Love that really augment her villainy in that quirky way. It's a wonderful detail. In fact, Danielle Bianchi mentions that in the interview that's included in the making of documentary of From Russia with Love. So there's that. What else? Are there any other eyeglasses, eyewear in James Bond films that were worth mentioning? Let's see. Maybe they're the sunglasses that are worn by Daniel Craig in Casino Royale, or gosh, there have to be others. Let's see. Well, if you have any other suggestions, please let me know. Let's see. Okay, just scrolling down here, just in the interest of time. Sorry about this. Yes, Damien. This is the part of the live stream where I was talking about the priest. Yes, and Damien and others. Well, Damien here says, I also thought the same about the priest. Had bad vibes to him. Yes, yes. I wonder what happened after what happened to Blofeld. Did Bond go back to the cemetery and confront the priest? Who knows? I'm not sure. But in any event, let's see. Hennock says, Bond tells Molina metaphorically, before determining your revenge, kindly use two graves. Um, Seth Wall says, when BB is still blowing kisses at Roger Moore while they're skiing. Yes, that's such a wonderful detail, Seth. I'm so glad you picked that up. It's such a lighthearted, beautiful display of affection for the man, Roger Moore. And then there's a moment when he takes off his ski visor, I think. He looks back and we see BB doll just they're just enjoying the time. She's just right. She's blowing the kisses, and he turns his head back and he smiles. That's a wonderful moment. Yeah, yeah. Roger. Wow. Yes. What a great detail. Let's see. Just scrolling down. Sorry. Um, Damn fools. Yes. Poor George Leach. Yes. 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 I agree. Yes. Um, as Damien says, my favorite character in this film was Locke. I really didn't trust anyone with octagonal shaped glasses as a kid speaking when I first saw this movie at age 6 in 1986. uh, oh, wow. Let's see. Seth Walsh says, thank you for the Roger Moore facial expression recognition during the car chase. So indicative of the Roger Moore charisma. He's a definitive Bond for sure. This film is a perfect example. Let's see. Absolute Boris here. Hello. It's nice to see you. You say, good morning, Daisuke. Saw this twice at the cinema as a kid. Wow, that is so wonderful. As I was mentioning earlier, I've seen this film many times, but never in the theater. I would love to be able to see this in the theater. And you saw it twice. That is so cool. That is really cool. Um, let's see. Seth Walsh says this film made me want to watch Cool Runnings again. Yes, yes. Something about a bobsled shoot. Yes. And I love the bit where Roger Moore is looking. He's like, that's great. Look, don't look back. Look forward. Yes. Yes. Okay. Here we go. Damn fools. I was talking about my question about the air tank. Damn fool says the air tank is left because plot convenience for later. Yes, I've wondered if maybe she just had a habit of leaving it for later. Yes, I'm not sure. Maybe that was it. I'm not sure. But again, maybe it was like we might need this for a later plot convenience, James. So let me just leave it here for the time being. Okay. Yes. Um. Anyway. Irwin says the only reason I can think of why she leaves the air tank is so that the writers have an easy escape later on in the film. Yes, yes. Zyrotha, you can leave air tanks to use them later. Oh, very good. She probably figured she was going to return very soon and did not want to waste time lugging out. That is a good point. That is probably it. Again, I am not an experienced diver, but that is a very, I think, a reasonable reason to do that. It is, I would assume, a very heavy piece of equipment, that's for sure. And it's probably easier to take it on or to put it on and take it off underwater than it would be outside the water. So, Zyrother, well done. Well done. Let's see. Um, just scrolling down here, scrolling down through the comments. Scrolling down. Oh, oops. Oh, here we go again. I'm not handling the live chat comment. Here we go. Section. Well, but let me just try to get that. Okay, here we go. Um, Marzan Worldwide is here. Hello. Good evening from New York. Daisuke and everyone. Hello to you as well. I love this film, especially the ski scene in so many great locations. Damien says, the man with the golden gun. Oh, in search of Scaramanga's island. Oh, interesting. Yes, talking about the music. Um, let's see. Oh, yes, Seth Wall says also because Melina is delivering pistachio nuts. Oh, yes, yes. To Mike, are you? Is it Max? You're referring to Max on the boat? Yes, pistachio nuts for Max. Is the is the parrot's name Max? Is it? Oh, gosh, why am I getting these details on my? Please correct me if I'm wrong. Let's see. Oh yes, Erwin says yes. Minaiti's slipping. So this is a quote about from the Countess, and then what does Bond say? He says, "So is your accent, Countess." He says Manchester, and then she says close Liverpool. So, oh, yes, thank you, Digital X Media Max the Parrot. Yes, give us a kiss. Give us a kiss. I'll give you a nut, um, as Melina's father says at the beginning of the film. Yes, and of course, uh, Max says this at the end of the film as well when he's talking to Mrs. Thatcher over the telephone. Um, let's see. Damnful, yes, love for Lobot. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes, yes. I love that shot, that wonderful shot when Lando Calrissian is doing that thing with his watch, and then it cuts to Lobot and he's in his like chamber. Right? Oh, that's great. I had Lobot. I had the figure, the old school Star Wars figures. When I was a kid, I had they had the thing with the arms were like this, but then for those who had the lightsaber, you pull the little thing, draw it up, and it would bring the lightsaber thing out from the arm, and then you had that cape. You had Darth Vader's cape. It was just like a piece of plastic with two holes cut in. You just put the arms through, and it was just this. It wasn't really a cape as much. It was like a parasol kind of surrounding. But Lobot, I had the Lobot figure as well, so that was really great. I also was very lucky. I had the Millennium Falcon too, and it had those little pegs where you could have the Star Wars figures, and they had little holes in the on the soles of the feet, and so you could stick them on the pegs, and they would be standing inside various places of the Millennium Falcon. So I was so lucky to have the Millennium Falcon, but alas, I don't have those figures anymore. So anyway, I love those, and I also love. I'm totally going off track here, but I loved also. I had He-Man and the Masters of the Universe figures as well. And I was so fascinated. There was a series of those figures, which had battle damage. I don't know if for anyone who had those figures, if you remember, you have the chest area, and every time you touch the chest area, it would turn, it would swivel, and so I think it had three options. One, it was like a pristine armor, and then you touch it, and then it twists to the next stage, which would be slight battle damage, and then you'd hit it again, it would be even more battle damage, and then you'd reset it, and it would go back to the first stage, and you'd hit it, hit it, hit it, and so that was so fascinating to me. The battle armor damage He-Man figures, but anyway, sorry for that indulgence. But why did I bring that up? Oh yes, Lobot. Yes, of course. I had the Lobot figure. Anyway, um, yes. Sorry, sorry. Let's see. Seth Walsh says the fact that there was two more Roger Moore films after this one, the longevity of Roger Moore. He is such a hero for all time. He deserves a delicatessen in stainless steel, no less. Um, let's see. Strelok's Stash is here. Hello. Um, What's going on, Daisuke? Oh, nothing much. Yes, it's nice to see you. Yes. Let's see. Yes, Henox is yes, mentioning Bernard Lee. Yes. Oh, it's what Bernard Lee. It's his presence, I think, is or the lack of his presence, I should say, is so felt in this film. I know they're doing their very best. Of course, it's those circumstances. I understand, but still, it's really it's tough, really. So of course um, they will have a new M, Robert Brown M from the next film onwards. But it's there's a feeling like M's on leave, and so that has I think a lot of from that. That's what Moneypenny says. Um, let's see here. Damful says, "Ha, I should do a top 10 Bond eyewear." Yes, yes, I'd love to see that video. That would be so cool. Erwin says, "I love Rosa Kleb's pair of glasses." Yes, yes, Rose and oh, Absolute Bore, same thing. Rosa Klebb, yes. Um, let's see. Steve Mack is here. Hello, Steve Mack. Sheena Easton, who sang the theme tune, was discovered through an 80s BBC TV show called The Big Time, where she auditioned for EMI to record a single. Wow. Thankfully, she was successful. Damn Fool continues Bond's super big 80s shades in A View to a Kill. Yes. Uh, Zyrotha says, well, then we need top 10 ties, hats, and shoes, etc. There's that great channel. What is it? The Bond Experience. What is it? What is it? The uh, uh, the there's all the Bond paraphernalia, the shoes that he wears, and there's a great channel. So I'm sure they have all the glasses as well, that have been worn by Bond and Daniel Craig, etc. So and Pierce Brosnan, etc. Did Timothy Dalton have eyewear in his films? Let's see. Were there any glasses in the Timothy Dalton era that are worth mentioning in a top 10 video? Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. It's a good question. What about Sean Connery era too? I mean, I guess we mentioned Rosa Klebb. Um, it's a good question. Let's see. Let's see. Hmm. Hmm. I am at a loss. Were there any? Huh? You mean to say that there were no glasses in either The Living Daylights or License to Kill? That can't be. That can't be. If there are any, if there are any glasses, eyewear in any of those films, please let me know. Um, let's see. Oh, Samuel Stevens is here. It's nice to see you. Hanno Charm says, I have to go, but thank you, Daisuke, for a wonderful live stream. I appreciate your enthusiasm. It has reminded me just how much there is to love in this film. Best of luck with the rest of the stream. Thank you so much. It's nice to see you, and I hope you're well. I'll talk to you again very soon, I hope. So cheers. Let's see. Oh, gosh. Let's see. Here we go. Absolute Boar says Jaws' girlfriend. Oh, Dolly. Yes, of course. Yes. Well done, Absolute Boar from Moonraker. Those are so cool. Yes, well done. Well done. Oh, Steve Mack mentions Tom Ford. Snowden FT0237 sunglasses inspector. Yeah, oh gosh. All the way down to the model number. That's great. I don't know the model number of those glasses inspector, but that's great. Yes, but they'd have that T look on the side there, which is the sort of the branding look of the Tom Ford glasses. I do know that. So um, let's see. Damien restored Morton Slumber. Oh, interesting. Also, I suppose. Oh gosh, yes. Morton Slumber or Winton Kid. Yes. Um, excuse me. Steve Max says Conti is a great composer. Yes, yes. Hannock says Bill Tanner was played by Jim Villiers. Yes, yes, who has been a legit British stage actor and known Roger Moore back then. Well done. Yes, you're absolutely. Excuse me. Oh, Grillburger DAQ says, I don't know if you've discussed this yet, but this is my favorite theme song for any Bond film. Oh, yes, we have discussed a little bit of the song, but I didn't realize it was your favorite. That's just such a great choice to have, Grillburger. Well done. Well done. Yes. So good. Yes. Um, Damful says it was cool for fans to see Bill Tanner and not drinking Heineken. So let's see. Um, Damful says vintage. I'm sorry. Bond streams with vintage Kenner Star Wars talk is perfect. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Yes. Um, I also had I had Luke Skywalker, the Return of the Jedi Luke Skywalker in the black costume. I always wanted the Star Wars Luke Skywalker with the white costume that he has in Star Wars, but I was never able to get that, unfortunately. I also had, if I recall correctly, I had Jabba the Hutt as well. It had that thing where you had Jabba the. I think, am I remember? Is this a false memory? I'm not sure, but I remember. It's been such a long time. I could be wrong, but there was also right the Jabba the Hutt thing where it was Jabba the Hutt on this like piece of rectangle plastic, and there's an interior compartment inside that rectangle piece of plastic, if I recall. Again, anyone who has the Jabba the Hutt, if you have better detail recall than I, please let me know. Yes, Raymond Rodriguez mentions Cassandra Harris. Yes, and the connection with Pierce Brosnan. Yes, of course. Um, whoops. Oh, damn fool, thank you. Dalton popped down the shades in the living daylights while heading to the party. Yes, of course, of course. Yes. And then the great music in that particular moment. Wah, 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 wah. Yes, that's great. Yes, of course. Thank you so much. Well done. Well done. Would that fall in the top 10? I'm not sure. Um, I'm not sure. Doesn't Dalton also have eyewear before that sequence when he's surveilling the Pushkin as he's entering the hotel? I think so. I'm not sure. Or is that eyewear? I'm not sure. Or is it? Oh gosh. Please again correct me if I'm wrong. Um, oh, Erwin says I love Moneypenny's glasses in the Timothy Dalton era. Of course, of course. Caroline Bliss. Of course. You're absolutely right. Yes, Raymond says, yes, Julian Glover as Christados. We all remember him from The Empire Strikes Back. The deflector shield will be down. I'm sorry. The deflector shield will be down in moments. You may start your landing. He's talking to a little Darth Vader there. I love Darth Vader. I love the hologram Darth Vader. It's it's so Darth Vaderish. He's got to do the little hands on the hips there moment. Ah, that's great. That is a great moment in Empire Strikes Back. I also love the moment earlier when General Veers says to Darth Vader in that chamber, talking about Admiral Ozzel. And he says, "Oh, he thought surprise was wiser." And then Darth Vader interrupts, "He's as clumsy as he is stupid." Uh, what does he say? General, prepare your troops for a surface attack. That's great. And then he turns down. Da 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 da. Ah, Lord Vader, you're going to go. Oh, oh, oh. Poor Admiral Oswald, right? Uh, you are in command now, Admiral Piet. Thank you, Lord Vader. It's great. Sorry. Yes. I know it is relevant, of course, because again, the Julian Glover connection. So, um, all right. Let's see. Oh gosh. Um, yes, Erwin says her glass is talking about Moneypenny and Barry Manilow collection is just awesome. Yes. Okay. Seth Walsh mentions Kari Joji Fukunaga, yes, who's also um, Beast of No Nation, which I'm almost finished exploring the recent Criterion release. And also Kari Joji Fukunaga appears in that commentary track in that particular release as well. Damful says Bond putting Penny's glasses back on half tilted and askew is so endearing again in the living daylights. And then at the end, right? Not to mention, of course, that moment that moment by Money Penny, yes, as well. Um, yes. Oh, yes, thank you. Steve MacDalton used opera style binoculars in The Living Daylights. Does that count? Is that, oh gosh, is it those binocular types that he uses? Okay. You did mention Mr. Kid. Yes, yes. Uh, if God had wanted man to fly, he would have given him wings, Mr. Kid. I love Diamonds Are Forever. I'm sorry. Um, Steve Max says Roger Moore wears sunglasses in A View to a Kill in the opening sequence where he recovers, the microchip in Siberia. Uh, Hannock says Jeffrey Keane, naturally, he represents an archetypal individualism to his character. That's, uh, Damfool says, yes, I guess the eye binoculars count in the living daylights because they're on eyeglass frames. Thank you very much. Yes. Uh, Damien restored Kamal Khan and Carver, of course, were. Oh, of course, Carver. Yes, L.A. Carver and his glasses. Yes, and how sometimes you see the electronic screens reflected off of his lenses. Yes, of course. Of course. Kamal Khan. Oh, yes, right. Kamal Khan wears glasses too, right? And some, not all scenes, but some scenes, I think. Um, and let's see. Uh, Damn Fool says, For Your Eyes Only is also interesting because it visually marks the first of the three Alan Hume photographed Bond films. Yes, yes. Let's see. Um, Cecil dancing to the fire, yes. And then also Arthur Worcester is mentioned. Worcester is sorely underrated. He was a genius second unit director, and his hand is felt in all the great action sequences. They really haven't had anyone as good since. I love the action sequences as well. There's a great way in which information is conveyed, and the pacing is wonderful. It's not too fast. It's not too slow. It's just right. Everything is so right about this. Let's see. Here we go. And Damful says the Star Wars talk is appropriate also because Hume sought Return of the Jedi. Gosh, let's see here. One second here. Oh, sorry, I got lost here for 1 second. Great. Great, yes. Oh, I'm sorry, here we go. And Danfold continues, indeed, For Your Eyes Only is where Peter Lamont really comes to the fore. From the very start with the fishing ship and the introduction of I guess it's the surveillance ship of the British Navy, and the sets are really great. There's a way in which it's a type of there's a real, how should I put it? It has this, again, going back to the Cold War aesthetic. It's a really wonderful touch. And I think, again, you're absolutely right in terms of the work of Peter Lamont, who has these great connections with the Bond series up to then. But there's also this feel of the importance of the sets as well, and it's a further consideration. It was a great work by Ken Adam before, of course. Don't get me wrong, but it feels like another chapter in the Bond film franchise. That's for sure in terms of the looks and the set. Excuse me. Oh gosh, tea. It's not quite afternoon tea. I can't do it in the Drax way. Afternoon tea. May I press you to a cucumber sandwich? Oh, and also, I forgot to mention, the Christados giveaway is, if you're a villain and you're trying to maintain your cover, you should always shake hands with everyone. Never not shake hands with anyone. That is a giveaway. And so when Christados does not shake hands with Luigi Ferrara at the end of that scene, when they're outside drinking Glühwein, watching BB practice at the skate rink, that is a giveaway. And so that means that he is the villain. So you should, if someone is a double agent, you should always shake hands with everyone. Otherwise, you're going to give yourself away. Let's see. There we go. Okay, sorry about this. Oh, Intergray's here. Hello. Hello, Intergray. Oh yes, and Seth Walsh mentions the rock climbing sequence. Of course, yeah, that's great. And what am I saying? My goodness, that is probably one of the best Roger Moore ooh in history, right? When he falls and then the rope catches and we hear, ooh, that's great. And my goodness, what a cool use of shoelaces. That's another great. I don't know if it's top 10. I'm not sure how many times shoelaces have appeared in a significant manner in James Bond film. I can only think of two examples. In fact, if there are more examples, please let me know. One of the examples is The Living Daylights, and of course, the fight on the airplane, the Hercules, and Necros and Bond, and the shoelaces. All right, he got the boot. He got the boot. And so that's one. And then the other example is here, right? The shoelaces in Bond is trying to bring himself up. I'm not a rock climber, so I can't quite wrap my head around what he's doing. But whatever it is, it looks cool, and I think he's trying to get himself a foothold in order to be able to climb back up, which is very clever. The fact he's able to do this. It's with his shoelace too, right? If I'm remembering correctly. Let's see. So that is absolutely that's genius. Are there any other examples in James Bond where shoelaces have a very significant aspect to them? Not shoes, but shoelaces specifically. I don't know. I can't think of any. If there are any shoelace experts or James Bond shoelace experts out there, please let me know. Um, yes. Let's see. Um, yes, Damien says, "Ooh, with the echo." Yes, yes, it's so iconic. That's is that the best Roger Moore ooh in Roger Moore James Bond history? I'm not sure. Perhaps it could be. It's definitely up there. Um, yes, of course. Yes, that's it's not. I mean, I'm assuming that's not Roger Moore on the fall. Yes, but it was added on, right? But still, it's added on so well. Ooh. Actually, no. Maybe I take that back. It's probably for me the second best Roger Moore. Ooh. Probably the best Roger Moore ooh is what happens at the end of A View to a Kill. Oh, James. Oh, and then Roger Moore. Ah, ah, ah. Oh, that's probably the best one. Yes, yes, yes. I think I don't know. Do you have what are your favorite Roger Moore ooh in Roger Moore James Bond films? Please let me know. And I'd love to hear that. Let's see. Um, yes, Henox says Bob Simmons. He's yes underrated. Yes, Bob Simmons, and yes, uh, don't get Bob Simmons near a Lotus. Okay, that's all I have to say. Like, right. Speaking of which, the explosions in this film are so intense. There's also the warehouse explosion, which rivals I would say it's really intense. It rivals the explosion that we see in Casino Royale '67 and also Skyfall as well. That's a really intense explosion right there. Um, oh, and then there's mentioning of Apostas. Yes, yes. Uh, let's see. Um, Erwin, well done with a shoelace reference. I think Connery pretends to tighten his shoelaces and oh well done. And diamonds are forever and lets the balloon loose on the oil rig. Yes, yes, yes. Well done, Erwin for the win. Well done, well done indeed. Uh, gosh, that is brilliant, Erwin. Brilliant. Bravo, bravo. Um, let's see here. Damn Fool says, I sense me doing a top 10 Roger. Ooh, yes, please do. So, top 10 eyeglasses in Bond films and top 10 Roger Moore. Oohs. There are a lot of them here in For Your Eyes Only. Actually, maybe not a lot. Maybe just a few, or maybe a couple. I'm not sure. But the rock face one is certainly an iconic classic one. Rick Sylvester. Yes, yes. Um, and yes. Um, yes, thank you very much, Brave Guy. And there's a great comment he makes in the interview in the For Your Eyes Only making of documentary about how there's this this whole thing about the fall and what he had to do with the fall, and he was very nervous for a lot of reasons, both technically and also symbolically and all this. But it pulled off excellently, as we know. As Zyrother then suggests, followed by top 10 pain faces. Pierce Brosnan. Yes, my goodness. Let's play that game here as well. Could we let's imagine what other Bond actors would have been like if they were in For Your Eyes Only. Gosh, for instance, um, my goodness, for instance, Pierce Brosnan. Speaking of which, that the chemistry that would have occurred between him and right in terms of the scenes with the Countess, of course, notwithstanding, but also maybe we would we have had some pain face moments. I'm not sure. Maybe he would have been maybe in the De Chevaux sequence. Maybe he would have Pierce Brosnan wouldn't have been driving. He would have maybe been in the back seat, like Tomorrow Never Dies, and you would have been instead of going like this to the bad guys in the car, he would have been that wonderful laugh that he does in Tomorrow Never Dies. I love that moment in Tomorrow Never Dies. By the way, let's see. What about maybe if it was George Lazenby, he would have been making a lot of references to Beluga caviar north of the Caspian, perhaps. I'm not sure. Um, Let's see. Maybe if it was Daniel Craig. Um, oh gosh, what would have Daniel Craig done? And that car chase, you know how Bond, I think very elegantly, when the bad guy car is upside down, you notice that it's not Bond's car that hits it and it starts to swivel there, but he goes off along the hill face, and it's the other bad guy car that hits the car. But I think Daniel Craig would just rammed right into that car like ah. Yeah, yeah. And then what would have Timothy Dalton have done in that particular car chase sequence? Would he have said, lovely drive in the country, love a drive in the country, don't you? And then Melina's laughing. It's wonderful. Uh, what would have Timothy Dalton have said in there? Would he have said, gosh, he's in the car and he's like, I've had a few optional extras installed or something like that. But in fact, that probably would have been the case because there weren't any optional extras installed. Or maybe there were and he just didn't know and Melina didn't tell him about it. Who knows? Maybe it was, Melina, do you have any optional extras installed in this Deshavo car? And she would have said, no, I don't. I don't know what you're talking about. And they just keep driving away. Anyway, sorry about that. Yes. Let's see. Oh, yes, yes, damn fool says, of course, things, yes, things are about to turn nasty, luck, and then kicks the car. Yeah, he wouldn't have thrown the pin; he would just kick the car. Um, I don't know, maybe, it would have been for Daniel Craig. It would have been like car flip, camera goes 360, and then goes and the car explodes or something like that. That would have been really interesting. Maybe for George Lazenby on the lock car cliffside sequence, he would have walked and then suddenly he would have kicked it in that wonderful jump cut Peter Hunt editing trick style. Perhaps, I'm not sure, but and then Sean Connery. What if Sean Connery would have done? Um, uh, there's an interesting Sean Connery link too. So it's not quite a direct link, but remember in Doctor No, when he says that joke, I think they're on their way. I think they're on their way to a funeral, and then there's a similar type of joke that's played here in terms of the flowers, and he says, "Oh, send them to the funeral, will you?" or something like that. So, but anyway, sorry about this. I'm rambling as usual. Damful says, I always wondered if the Dishavo was a rental car. That's good. That is a really good point, right? Was it her car? Was it a rental car? Right? Because she wasn't living there, right? She was basically tracking Gonzalez through a detective agency, as she mentioned. Henoch says, yes, maybe it was leased for a week or a month. Maybe. Zarutha mentions might not get the deposit back. Yes, that's a really good point. Was that a rental car or not? I would, my goodness. Well, Bond was there, so maybe Bond turned on the charm when he returned the car, if it was indeed a rental car. But we're not quite sure. That's one of the great mysteries. That is a really good point. Was that, yeah, right? Because she didn't live there, and so I mean, unless she was wealthy, and she thought it would be better to buy a car rather than rent a car. But right, it probably is a rental car, right? If we think about it in a sort of reasonable interpretation of the situation. A really good point. I never thought about that. You've given me something to consider. Well done. Well done. Wow. Okay, is it almost 9 o'clock? So let us end very soon the discussion of 4 years. Oh my goodness. My goodness. Are we at the end? Are we at the end here? So we have talked about all of these films, the feature films anyway, in this live stream format. I don't know. Have you has it been okay? I hope that It's been fun. If it hasn't, then I apologize. It certainly wasn't my intention for it not to be fun. The James Bond films are, I think, such a source of great entertainment and joy. They've brought me so much joy in my life ever since I was a boy, ever since I was a little kid growing up. And like with a lot of other films I've mentioned here, I can't remember a time in my life when I didn't know the James Bond film series. And so I have loved these films uh, from the beginning, and maybe some more than others, perhaps. But that's true for any film, of course, in terms of one's subjective cinema journey, as I like to call it. And that's certainly true for the James Bond films. But they each, in their own ways, have their strengths. And so it's been such a great honor, such a real honor for me to be able to discuss these films. And it's been very exciting, too. Just as a kind of personal note, let me say that uh, on YouTube, there's the ability to say make a video in advance and edit it and upload it, and that's how I usually uh, take care of matters or make video discussions on this channel, which is not in the live stream process. But here I have the live stream unedited version, so you're getting the raw unedited version of me as I'm talking about these films. So I can make errors. I can sneeze or cough, or maybe there's these little mistakes I make in terms of the details I get wrong, or memories that I get mistaken, or maybe there's I don't know, a nose hair that's hanging out of my nostril as I'm speaking, or something like that I can't correct in post production. But that's also part of the fun. And I really enjoyed the live stream process, or the live stream format, in talking about these films, because I really love these films. I really, really love these films. I'm not the biggest expert when it comes to these films, that's for sure. And I think that has been made clear on many, many occasions. I don't have all the details, but I do love these films. I really do. And so it's been a great honor for me to be able to talk about these over the course of, it's been over a year. And when I started this, I was thinking, I don't think I'll be able to get through all of them. So, but we'll just do our very best and see what happens. And so here we are. Here we are. We're at the end of the road. And it's a great thing, too, because, as I say, For Your Eyes Only, the earlier live stream came and went. And that was such a sad moment when I realized that I was so depressed, actually, at that moment when I realized that it was gone forever. And so it was, I felt so deflated that day. But I thought, I tried to turn it, what is it, glass half full type of approach, and think, well, another way to think about it would be, it would give us another opportunity to talk about a Roger Moore film, and perhaps to end the series, this video discussion series or live stream discussion series, with a Roger Moore film. And perhaps, maybe in that way, that's probably my way of saying, or maybe that's a subliminal or hint or something, saying to me that maybe Roger Moore is indeed my favorite Bond. Who knows? Timothy Dalton is a close second, I think, but Roger Moore is definitely up there. And in fact, I was thinking the other day about what my ranking, my personal ranking of my favorite James Bond films, what it was like before this live stream discussion series started, and now where it's at this particular time. And I can safely say that my list has changed. And I think it's due in large part to the ability by me to be able to re explore the films through this live stream format with you, my dear friends. And thus, a great way for me, giving me the chance to re examine and reassess my own take, my own personal preferences when it comes to my favorite Bond films. And so, and I can say with confidence that right now, my top favorite Bond film is a Roger Moore Bond film. So that is, and it's probably a very, maybe a controversial choice as far as my favorite Bond film at the moment. If I had to make a top favorite list, number one would be A View to a Kill. I love A View to a Kill. I'm an unabashed fan of A View to a Kill. I know there are detractors. I know people saying, well, View to a Kill, that's one of the worst Bond films. I don't think so. I think it's one of the best. I think it's one of the best. It's one of my favorites. It is at this moment my favorite Bond film. I love that film so much. And so, um, number two, I think would be, it's hard. I think it would be either, it would probably be On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Number three probably would be The Living Daylights. And number four, oh goodness, I'm not sure. I have to think about it more carefully. But another surprise for me, or not maybe a pleasant surprise, is how some films have gone up in terms of the rankings as well. I think in particular films like The Man with the Golden Gun have gone up in the rankings. Diamonds Are Forever have gone up in the rankings for me. And I think let's see. And also, it's been a great way for me to re-examine films that maybe I wasn't quite keen on at the start, but again, from your perspectives and your getting your views, I've been able to get a fresh take on films like, say, Spectre. I was not a fan of Spectre going in, but leaving the live stream, I can see now where that film has a lot of strengths, and so I have you, my dear friends, to thank for that. And also, um, it's been a great, fun time to talk about just those little details. Dalton, Pierce Brosnan, Sean Connery, those little George Lazenby, those little details. Pain-faced Brosnan, um, and the of course the Timothy Dalton. What's a good Timothy Dalton? Um, Gosh, there's so many. I suppose maybe I don't know. When he's trying to get the Hercules to avoid the mountain, or not to avoid the mountain, but to avoid the oncoming plane, he's like, yeah, right. Oh, it's great when he's behind the controls there. It reminds me too of Pierce Brosnan at the beginning of GoldenEye, trying to, right. There's that, and then Pierce Brosnan with the running, right. That's wonderful, and um, Timothy Dalton and his cigarette smoke in The Living Daylights. And you can tell that cigarette smoke is like, I don't trust you, Koskov, and don't get me started on Timothy Dalton and balloons. If you're a balloon, you don't want to be anywhere near Timothy Dalton, because he's gonna grab you and he's gonna squeeze the life out of you. Smirt, Smione, and balloons. Don't go anywhere near Timothy Dalton, especially when he's having a bad day. The same thing too. If you're a Lotus car, the last thing you want is Bob Simmons standing next to you. Don't if you're a Lotus car, a Lotus Esprit model, don't just hope and pray that Bob Simmons doesn't come near you. But so there's that, and Timothy Dalton and balloons, and then of course there's the great moment with Pierce Brosnan. I can't do it; it's so hard, but it's right. Right. One last. So, and then of course coming back to Roger Moore. Ooh, and of course, Sean Connery. Diamonds Are Forever was mentioned quite a bit in this live stream class. One of my favorite Sean Connery moments in a Bond film or in any Sean Connery film. All right, Diamonds Are Forever. Right, I've done it before, but let me do it one last time. I know you've been waiting for this, my friends, but great moment, great moment. I love that moment in Amsterdam. And speaking of which, the Amsterdam story about the skinny bridge, it wasn't a complete story, because you had the two sisters and they wanted to visit each other every day, but they ran out, but so they wanted to make a bridge, but then they ran out of money. And so that's why it's called the skinny bridge. What is the link between running out of money and then the skinny bridge? I don't know. I'm assuming it's because they ran out of money and thus they had limited amount of materials and resources to make the skinny bridge. But there's that part of the story is not there in the tour guide's explanation. So, they wanted to visit each other every day, but they ran out of money, and so that's why it's called the skinny. What's that? You're missing a paragraph or something. I don't know. But anyway, so they ran out of money, and so that's why they ran out of the materials. But they used all the materials that they could to create what they could, given the limited amount of supply. And so the limited amount of supply meant that they could make a bridge, but it was only skinny. So that's why it was called the skinny, or something like that. I don't know. But anyway, yes. Sorry about that. Let's see. And so Um, Gosh, so it's been such a fun time. I've enjoyed it immensely. And this is therefore my way to say, too, that there is going to be another James Bond film, and it's called No Time to Die. And all the indications point to the fact that it will continue to have this release scheduled for, I think, in some places this week, in other places, the beginning of October. For me, here in Tokyo, in fact, it is scheduled for theatrical release at the end of this week on Friday. So I will try to watch it actually this weekend, this upcoming weekend, if I can. Um, and so I will, and of course, the theaters are open here in Tokyo. Certain rules apply, I think, for attendance, but if one abides by such rules, then one can go to the theaters, I think. And so I will, assuming that everything is in place in terms of all the situations, I will try my best to watch No Time to Die, which means that this is not the end. This is not the end. This is only we're almost at the end, but not quite. And so we will have one more live stream discussing No Time to Die. Now, I want to give it some time because I know that for perhaps not for everyone, it'll be possible to watch No Time to Die immediately. I understand that. So let me think about the schedule and let me see what the what the general impression is, my sense of how people will be able to watch it. My hunch is that it will probably be maybe in the third or fourth week of October, the live stream I'm talking, because I maybe it's going to be approximately 1 month from today or something like that. But I will announce it ahead of time. And so let us try to have one more live stream discussion, this time on No Time to Die. So it will happen, my friends, probably in the latter half of October, but I will make an announcement about that. So looking forward to that very, very much. And I do want to say, too, that it was a great pleasure. It was such a great pleasure to be with, to have you along, to meet with you and to discuss with you, to have these conversations with you, to hear from you, to get your takes on these and many other Bond films. It's been such a great honor and joy and privilege for me to do this. So really, thank you. I guess to quote on a top, the pleasure was all mine. I won't lick the screen, but I will say that really, indeed, the pleasure was all mine. It's been such an honor, and so, and I do want to try to continue the Bond discussions. I do like this idea of the Bond themed live streams. And so even if we run out of films, let's see. Again, I can't quite promise anything, but let's see if we can have more Bond themed discussions in live stream formats. And I have mentioned where I do want to continue the live stream. I do want to continue the live stream format with other series. I did mention maybe the Star Trek films. I am still thinking about that. I'm not sure yet if that'll happen. I would like that, but um, it's been so great, and I do want to continue these live streams in some form. So it's been a real honor, really has. So I want to thank you so much, um, and I will now go to the chat. I'll stick around for another 15 minutes or so, and we'll end it at least for now. But James Bond will return. Let's see. Um, Erwin says, my dad used to have a dish of oat when I was a kid. Wow. The gear poke was quite a piece of work. Wow, that's so cool. What color was it, by the way? Oh, that's so cool. Raymond says, Roger Moore's great sense of humor and timing that makes this film what it is. Yes, I agree. Mike Eli, say it ain't so. What a journey it's been. This series of live streams has been absolutely magnificent. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you, Mike. Wow. Um, Damful says, I was about to say it's weird not having a poll to pick the next stream. Yes. Oh, Zyrother. Now that I want to say thank you to Zyrother and Damful. And he's not here, but Cooper Glover, 1972 as well. Thank you so much. for your great work. Thank you. Yes, Zyrothra, you were the one who came up with the poll idea, if I remember correctly. So you were handling that so well, and it would be like, um, right, yeah, everyone, you've got 5 minutes left or something, and you'd always be on the clock. So wonderful, and then I would be like, what's going on? What's going on? And you'd be on top of things. So great, and you and Damful and Cougar Glover and others, great stuff. Thank you so much. Seth says, I have loved every live stream I've been able to be a part of. Thank you for hosting them. No, thank you for joining, Seth. To share with others love of James Bond has been so memorable. Yes. Henok says, I'm afraid we've been out horsepowered. Erwin says, Erwin, thank you. And Erwin for the win today with the Diamonds Are Forever shoelace reference. That is brilliant. Brilliant. I will remember that for the rest of my life. That is so brilliant. And you say, epic stream continuation. So much fun and learned a lot as well. Kudos. The kudos are to you and everyone else here, my friend. I was just happy to be part of the along for the ride. But great. Again, genius, genius. Well done, well done. It's like Erwin. You and I are playing the Never Say Never Again version, Domination, and like I'm trying to keep my hands on the joysticks, but I can't. Right. You got me with that shoelace reference. Bravo, bravo. Or maybe I should be like, extending my feelings of appreciation with that wonderful tango pose of Sean Connery and Kim Basinger. Da 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 da. Right. Um, Wonderful, wonderful job. Um, your brother's dead. Keep dancing. Largo's the main suspect. um, let's see. Um, Let's see here. Raymond says, thanks for the great discussion on this fantastic film. It's one of my favorite Bond films. Be safe and well. Likewise, my dear friend, thank you so much. Damien says, it's been terrific. When do you plan to see No Time to Die? Hopefully next weekend. We shall see. Um, Zyrother says, most other film series require watching in chronological order, can't really use polls. Yeah, that's a good point. That's good. But the James Bond films, I think it worked really well. It was interesting to see what people, the people who were still around by the end of the stream, when it came time to vote, what they would choose. That was part of the interesting thing. What would people think about next? What would they choose next? And a lot of it would be an opportunity to see and hear what people's favorite films were in the series too. So it was wonderful. Wonderful ideas, Aaron. Well done. Let's see. Henok says, "No Time to Die. I don't want to miss it as well." Yes. Um, yeah, goodness. I'm sorry. Let's see. Um, Digital X Media says, "Looking forward to seeing your No Time to Die live stream." So NTTD, No Time to Die. So NTTD. Okay. Um, Absolute bore. Love to have love to have seen the Adam West screen test for Bond among those. Oh, interesting. Yes. Yes. So Adam West. So anyway, well done. Well done. Absolute bore. Thank you so much. Um Damon, anyone going as a character from 007 for No Time to Die? Oh, interesting. Like dressing up, perhaps. I've never done that for a film. Have I done that for? No, I've never done that for a film. Um, Hannah talking about the warehouse explosion. Um, Irwin says, great point. My ranking changed significantly over the last year and a half or so, which made the stream series even more awesome. By the way, for those of you who are here, can you give me what are your top favorite Bond films right now? What are your top favorite Bond films? You can give me the list, top three, top five, top 10, whatever it is. Let me know in the live stream. I'd love to see those lists. Even if it's a temporary preliminary list, it hasn't quite been solidified yet. Still, what are you thinking right now in terms of your favorite Bond films? I'd love to see. Let me know in the chat. Damnful says, yes, A View to a Kill fans unite. Yes, yes, Digital X Media. A View to a Kill was my first Bond film. It will always be one of my favorites. Well done. Yes, well done. Seth This is so great that you can thank the live stream format for changing your ranking. I can recall your old Bond ranking video, and you were very critical of some. Yes, I hope you can make another ranking. Yes, thank you very much. I was, I think I was, I do have some reservations still about some of the films, but maybe I can see a more, I can maybe, how should I put it? Even where I have certain reservations, I can still go along for the ride. Let me put it that way. And so yes, that outlook has certainly affected how I approach those films. That's for sure. Even the one that comes at the very bottom is still one that I wouldn't. It's at the very bottom not because I think it's a terrible film, but it's just it. When you make a ranking list, something has to start at the bottom. So that's just the way it goes. Absolute Bore says, yes, it's interesting how our own rankings seem to change depending on nostalgia, etc. On Her Majesty's Secret Service is probably my number one. Incidentally, St. Cyril's here in For Your Eyes Only has a wonderful, uh, vibe to the Blofeld hideout in On Her Majesty's. So, really interesting stuff. Let's see. Sorry, again, just scroll. Again, I lost track here. Here we go. Okay. Dampool says, if I try and rank them, I find it nearly impossible to do. I can do a loose ordering, but constantly go back and forth. Yes. Yes. Damien says, great choice. We all have our opinions, and that's a bonus. Agreed. Henok, that's why we're here, Daisuke. Yep, might be the Golden Gate sequence or the Golden Gate Bridge. Damien says, watch Spectre last night to get ready. I liked it more. I think Christoph Waltz is fine too. Excuse me. Damful, Live and Let Die is my favorite film. And Live and Let Die is cool as well. Damful, yes, the self arm lovers gallery. It's an art form pulling it off properly. Butterhook. There is the oh gosh, when I was a kid, I was fascinated by the tarot cards, and I always wanted a deck of tarot cards. I could never find, for whatever reason, I could never find a deck of tarot cards. But anyway, and incidentally, in Live and Let Die, the scene with Bond has a whole stack of the lovers cards, and he just as he's embracing. Solitaire, he just lets the cards out, and they're all strewn across the desk and the floor there. I'd like to think what what was the timing for him to clean those cards up? Because if the Solitaire saw those cards, that would have given the game up and would have given the game away. And so, was it when he let those cards out and they're embracing? You can imagine what happens next in terms of the intimacy of the moment. But what can you imagine what he's saying? Oh, darling, before we go into the bedroom, do you mind if I just go in there while I clean up here? And he has to hide the cards from Solitaire so she doesn't see. Or maybe it was, no sense in, is there time enough for rule number 3? And so, maybe after that, yes. Oh, before we go and try to escape from this island, let me just clean up the room there. Don't go in. Don't come in. Let me just do it by myself. Oh, James, why? Why? Let me go and see what is you. No, Solitaire, stay here, and I'll clean up. Oh, did I say well, you said cards? No. I didn't say anything, Solitaire. Just stay here, and I'll be right back. And he's trying to clean up the cards here. So, but anyway, yeah. Let's see. It's a great moment, by the way. As Erwin said, I used to be a bike tour guide in Amsterdam during my university years, but I totally forgot the Skinny Bridge story. Yes. Um, is there something that I'm missing in terms of that story? Anyway, Damien says yes. Here we go. You only live twice. The Living Daylights, From Russia with Love, Octopussy, On Her Majesty's Secret Service to find. Well done. Yes, Damn Fool says, if I had been a guide there, I wouldn't have been able to help imitating the lady's voice in the film. Also, what is it? What's her name? Mrs. Whistler, I think, right? Mrs. Whistler, right? The letter U is for umbrella. We take it lest it rain. We hope we shan't need it until we're home again. Yes. Great stuff. Um, Zyroth says we could do a live stream on Everything or Nothing documentary if we want. Oh, that's interesting. Everything or Nothing. One of my favorite moments is Pierce Brosnan talking about kite surfing a tsunami. Okay, we're gonna kite surf a tsunami and just laughing. You can't help it. Just kite surfing a tsunami. Oh, he's talking about. I remember Goldeneye. The rest are a blur. So that's one. And also, Timothy Dalton, the bam bam bam, and the wonderful hair that did bam bam bam. Oh, it's great stuff. I love that so much. And also the very poignant story in terms of Sean Connery, as told by Barbara Broccoli, Sean Connery and Albert Broccoli, when Albert Broccoli was very sick. And so Barbara Broccoli is talking about how they had one final conversation, the two of them. And so very telling, and also just I think very revealing. I enjoy that documentary because there are moments when it feels very honest, an honest assessment. But yeah, those are some really really great moments. Bam, bam. Oh, great, very cool. Cooper Clever 1972. Yes, well done. It's nice to see you. Nice to see you. I hope you're well, my friend. Okay. Here we go. Here we go. Oh, talking about. Let's see. Irwin says David Lynch series me. Oh, live stream David Lynch. It's tough. It's very tough. But and then Seth. But I'd love to be able to talk about those. Maybe not in a live stream format, but maybe in a different format. Seth Wall says David Cronenberg. Um, Interesting. Very interesting. You're talking about, you say David Cronenberg's The Fly to kick off October, and a Cronenberg series, A History of Violence. Wow. Oh, interesting. Is that what you're going to do on your channel? Um, it's an interesting coincidence because just between you and me here, I've just uploaded, I haven't made it public yet, but I've uploaded onto the channel a discussion of David Cronenberg's film from '69, which is called Stereo. So I'll try to make it public. I don't know, maybe sometime today. I think, or maybe this week. I'm not sure. Oh, what the heck? Maybe I'll do it later today. Who knows? But any event, Cronenberg's stereo discussion will be up, or it's already up. It's just it'll be made public very soon, and that will start a discussion series of the works of Cronenberg. But keep this between ourselves. Let's see. Cooper Clever says, here we go. Let's see. Spy Who Loved Me, Goldfinger, and On Her Majesty's Secret Service. Also like Live and Let Die and Man with the Golden Gun. Into Gray, Temporary for Me is from Russia with Love, Goldeneye, Skyfall. Adam, hello Adam. On Her Majesty's Secret Service, Diamonds Are Forever, The Man with the Golden Gun. Zyrother for me, number 1, License to Kill. Number 2, Tomorrow Never Dies. Number 3, From Russia with Love. Into Gray, I need to watch everything again since it's been a while. Let's see. Absolute Bourse is On Her Majesty's number 1. Number 2, From Russia with Love. Number 3, Dr. No. Number 4, Diamonds Are Forever. Number 5, The Man with the Golden Gun. Number 6, You Only Live Twice. It keeps changing. Yes. 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 Damfool says, I want to get the official tie-in Live and Let Die tarot cards. Oh, that would be really cool, says Zyrothra. I agree. Zeth says, I've waited a long time for this live stream. There's so much to want to commemorate in terms of Roger Moore's greatness. My Live and Let Die poster in my movie room has a whole new level of importance. Oh, interesting. It's great. Yes, Damfool's a small confession. The deck was slightly stacked in my favor. Yes, Seth says the man with the golden arm. 5 bags of popcorn. Daisuke, you absolute mad lad. It's nice to see you, 5 bags. I hope you're well, my friend. Arwen says, apparently the two ladies anecdote of the skinny bridge is all fantasy. It was named so because they used wood instead of stone, and it was much narrower than ordinary bridges. It really is narrow. Again, Erwin for the win. Again. Well done. Well done. Um, Damien says, if you have access to BBC Radio 2 Daisuke, there have been some very good Bond-related shows. Oh, great. 5 Bags says, Popcorn says, number 1, The Spy Who Loved Me. Number 2, You Only Live Twice. Number 3, From Russia with Love. Pat Hatfield, hello. You say favorites in no order. Goldfinger, Diamonds Are Forever, and You Only Live Twice, because it was the first Bond movie I've ever seen, and because of Donald Pleasant's portrayal of Blofeld. You only live twice, and twice is the only way to live. Well done, Pat Hatfield. Thank you so much. Damn Fool says the best Bond film overall is a battle between Dr. No and From Russia with Love. Oh, Terrence Young versus Terrence Young. Oh my goodness. That is a very interesting battle in and of itself. Yes. Um, yes, right. According to Terrence Young, one of my favorite Terrence Young quotes, right? The secret ingredient of success of Dr. No. There are 3 reasons for the success of Dr. No. It was Sean Connery, Sean Connery, Sean Connery. Yes. Well done. And Sean Connery, right? I want you to sleep in your suit, Sean Connery. Okay. Um, let's see. I've never slept in a suit, by the way. At least I don't think I have. I've never had a Savile Row suit, by the way. I don't think I'll ever be able to get one, but 5 Bags of Popcorn says Dr. No used to be universally acknowledged as the best film. Let's see. Absolute Bore says Donald Pleasant's one of the finest actors to ever walk this earth. Damful says we should all sleep in a suit for experience. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh goodness. Um, Damful says From Russia with Love. I think is truly the best on all levels. It's hard to argue with that. It's really hard to argue with that. Um, um, I love I so many great details in From Russia with Love. I don't think I emphasized it enough in the live stream discussion, but that look on Kronstein's face when he gets it from the shoe, and that look on his face, and that's another great moment. It's up there with Roger Moore's ooh, and the young woman's with the money here and for your eyes only, but the dun, dun, I can't do it. I can't do it. But that look of what is it? The 5 stages, right? Of oh my goodness, that's great. That I guess it's not quite shoelaces, but of course that's another image, iconic shoe wear. Not quite shoelaces, but shoe wear. All right, here we go. Yes, Damful says the dramatic high point of the series is the Orient Express confrontation. Yes, and of course, there is the moment which we don't see in the film. I think is where Sean Connery said, "You won't be needing this, old man." But we have to imagine too that he also took the garrote watch as well off the wrist, because that's how else could he have had it in his desk drawer in On Her Majesty's. But oh well, oh well. Um, let's see. You won't be needing this, old man. I'll never be able to achieve it in my lifetime, but I would love the to know the experience of being able, or to have the physical strength, to have the capacity to be able to crush a golf ball in my bare hands, just like Oddjob, or to be able to crush loaded dice, just as Gobinda is able to do in Octopussy. There's another great sound scream in James Bond, the great of course, it's the same scream that we hear a lot for people falling from great heights over water or land, to borrow a phrase from North by Northwest. But the again, if you're a Govinda, don't ever go near an antenna line, a wire antenna, because you're going to get hit in the face, and it's not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all. There we go. There we go. Incidentally, too, sidestepping in James Bond films, there's a lot of it there. In Never Say Never Again, when he's in trouble and Bond, there's a moment where Bond sidesteps down a flight of stairs, which, as I mentioned, I think in that live stream, is very reminiscent of how Sean Connery's Bond sidesteps down a flight of stairs in the subway system in You Only Live Twice, when I think he's chasing Aki after the death of Henderson. And there's also sidestepping. I didn't mention it, but there's sidestepping on the Golden Gate Bridge when Zorin is walking with the axe and he's walking down one of the pipes about to attack Bond. A lot of sidestepping here. It's great stuff. Great stuff. That's another, I don't know, damn fool. Are you interested in another top 10 or top 5? I know, top 5 moments of sidestepping in a Bond film. Anyway, here we go. Let's see. All right. Scrolling down. Cooper Glover 72. Good afternoon, Mr. Bond. Don't concern yourself with the pilot, one of my less useful people. Zyrotha says, I think my favorite score is On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And Cooper Glover 1972. Really? Have you no respect for the dead? Zyrotha or The Living Daylights, hard to choose in terms of score. The Living Daylights score is phenomenal. If There Was a Man. Oh, If There Was a Man. That song. It's wonderful. And talk about milk. There were those milk adverts in the United Kingdom when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s. There's the one with what milk, right? It's what Ian Rush drinks, right? Ian Rush, right? And he says, if I didn't drink lots of milk when I grew up, I wouldn't be good enough to play with Acton Stanley or something like that. And so, what is it? You got any lemonade if you want. So there are these milk adverts to encourage kids to drink milk. But if you watch The Living Daylights, perhaps that is a deterrent to drink milk, because as we know, the milk bottles serve not as actual milk bottle, but in fact grenades. And so it's probably a deterrent to drink milk. If you drink milk, you might be drinking a grenade. I don't know. But in any event, yes, Necros is one of the great villains of the James Bond age. Such a great villain. And I love Koskov's reaction. I told you, the Bruce me. I told you. Yes, Koskov, who hides his list of Spiritsmionem list in his shoe. And that's another reason, I think, for Bond to dislike him. Like, I don't want to touch that list if it's in his shoe. But anyway. All right. So now's the time. All right, so I've got to get going. So anyway, my dear friends, dear friends, it has been such an honor, but it's not the end. James Bond will return. I will make an announcement when I am able to, with regard to No Time to Die discussion, or maybe other James Bond related theme topic discussions for many future live stream, I hope. Whatever the case is, my friends, once again, thank you so much. It's been a real honor and pleasure and privilege. Truly, it has been. And I look forward to the continuing conversations going forward. And as we are ending on the note of Roger Moore and For Your Eyes Only, let me please end this live stream in the note of Roger Moore, as he himself ended his reign of James Bond at the end of A View to a Kill, which now I consider perhaps my favorite James Bond film, when he's in there with Stacey Sutton after all has been said and done and all the adventure has reached its end, and now it's a time for rest and relaxation. And she says, "Oh, James," and they embrace in the shower, and he says, "Ah ha 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 ha." Ooh. Thank you very much, my dear friends, and talk to you soon. Ha 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 ha. Ooh. Cheers.